Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You are listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Excited, thrilled, delighted to be here on this wonderful Thursday. We are inching closer and closer and closer to the divisional round between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Houston Texans. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here. Rob Brenton is here as well, taking you up until 6 o'clock. This is what we have on the docket for today. Coming up in about 15 minutes, Sean Pendergast of Sports Radio 610. He hosts mornings. He is going to be on the show coming up at 2:15. We also have the afternoon host at Sports Radio 610, Ron the Show Hughley. He will be on the show in the 3 o'clock hour. Sean Barber is going to be in studio in the 5 o'clock hour. And we also have national television star Danny Parkins. He will be on the show coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. So we got a busy show. We got a lot planned. We appreciate you guys making us a part of your day and a part of your preparation for the second round of the NFL playoffs. We do not have any pizza today. I am still hopeful that we will get back to a place where we are giving you guys pizza from some great Kansas City company. But I do want to remind you guys to be sure that you listen every day at 2 o'clock. And if you can, you know what? I would appreciate it if you could tell at least one friend. You don't got to tell two friends, but just tell one friend about the show. Let's start with this today. Now, I know that I have been labeled as anti-Travis Kelce, and I assure you, I am not anti-Travis Kelce. I follow a very simple rule on this show. I am going to talk about the highest paid and the most productive players on the team. Travis Kelce is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is arguably the greatest to ever play his position. We're going to talk about him on this show. He has been one of the greatest postseason players in the history of American sports. Not just labeled to football. I am talking about if you had to make a short list of players who have elevated their play once you got to the postseason, who have played in the biggest games, who have come through in the biggest moments, Travis Kelce would be on that list. I think we all can acknowledge that Travis Kelce's career is winding down. Travis Kelce acknowledged that himself yesterday on the Stephen A. Smith Show, and I'll play that for you in a bit. But I want to play what Dan Orlowski had to say earlier today on Get Up about Travis Kelce, and this could potentially be the last great run from an all-time player.
Kelce's more than capable of being the difference maker. I think he's got one great run left. I think if he goes and has that vintage Kelce performance, which I fully, one, think he's capable of, and two, will do, and they go on and three-peat, I think retirement becomes a very real thing for Travis Kelce. There'd be nothing else to accomplish. He'd be arguably the greatest tight end of all time. He would be the tight end that was part of the only three-peat in the history of the NFL. He's obviously later in his career. I don't think there'd be anything left, and I think that he's got one elite, great difference maker, vintage, oh my gosh, he did it again, run left in him.
That was Dan Orlowski earlier today on Get Up. Let's put into context how dominant Travis Kelce has been in the postseason. In every playoff game that the Chiefs have had post-COVID, Travis Kelce has had at least 70 yards in those games. We are talking about a stretch of 13 postseason games that heading into the most important games of the season, you could pencil Travis Kelce in for a minimum of 5 catches and 70 yards, and he was more than likely going to score a touchdown. The last time that Travis Kelce didn't have at least 70 yards receiving in a playoff game was the Super Bowl against San Francisco, the first time. So we are talking about a long time ago. The Chiefs didn't have a championship at that point. He has been dominant. He has been incredible over the last 4 or 5 postseason runs for the Kansas City Chiefs. But this is where I am right now with Travis Kelce. And we can take your phone calls, your texts, get your thoughts on this. I don't think the Chiefs need Travis Kelce to be a superhero anymore. I'm not saying that the Chiefs don't need Travis Kelce anymore. They certainly do need him. Last year, for example, the Chiefs only had 3 offensive players that you truly relied on. Travis Kelce was one of them, Rashee Rice was the other, and Isaiah Pacheco. The Chiefs didn't really have a whole lot of other offensive options there were not a whole lot of other weapons or players who you thought were really explosive last year. So the Chiefs relied really heavily on Travis Kelce, and he stepped up in a big way. He had 71 yards against the Dolphins, 75 yards and 2 touchdowns against Buffalo, had 116 yards and a touchdown against Baltimore in the AFC Championship game, and had 9 catches for 93 yards against San Francisco. If Travis Kelce doesn't take his game to that next level last year, I don't think the Chiefs win back-to-back Super Bowls. You fast forward a year, and we are a couple days away from the Chiefs playing their first postseason game of the year. I don't think the Chiefs need the same version of Kelce. I think that's a testament to the player acquisitions that the Chiefs have made over the last offseason, and also just the development of the room. The Chiefs wide receiver room was bare last year. I don't think you're in that position now. Noah Gray has developed and has become one of the more improved players in the National Football League, a guy who is certainly worthy of being a number 2 tight end for any tight end in the National Football League. So you've seen the room emerge and develop as Noah Gray has become a more essential part of this offense. Look at the wide receiver room now than when it was a year ago. You got DeAndre Hopkins, a player who, if this team goes on a run and the Chiefs make the postseason, DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a very, very strong case of being a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Almost all of the arguments that you guys make for Mike Evans and why he should be in the Hall of Fame, you are going to be able to make very similar arguments for DeAndre Hopkins and why he should be included in the Hall of Fame. That was nowhere to be found last year in that wide receiver room. So entering this postseason, you have added a player who has shown himself to be very reliable, a player who should come in very motivated, as he has never played in an AFC Championship game, never advanced past the second round of the postseason. So you're going to get a hungry player, a healthy player, a motivated player who also hasn't really, I think, been fully unlocked. The Chiefs didn't play DeAndre Hopkins a lot the last couple of months or so. Sure, he's been involved in the offense, but they've never really ramped up the usage for DeAndre Hopkins, where he's on the field 70% of the snaps, 80% of the snaps. We could potentially see that on Saturday against the Texans. Xavier Worthy has really developed the last 2 months of the season and has become one of the better young receivers this past season in the National Football League. Xavier Worthy had a little bit of a downturn in the middle part of the season. His October was not good. But ever since we got out of that stretch, Xavier Worthy has been very, very good the last 6 or 7 weeks or so in the National Football League. And you could argue that he just played his best game the last time that the Chiefs were on the field. He had 8 catches for 79 yards. That was a career high for him. And he scored a touchdown in the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you look at DeAndre Hopkins, you've got Xavier Worthy, you've got Hollywood Brown, who has come back and been a nice addition to this team. You still got Juju Smith-Schuster on this team. You just have other people in the offense to be able to carry the weight now for Travis Kelce, that you just don't need him to be Superman. You don't need him to go out and have 11 catches for 116 yards. Right now, if you look on FanDuel or DraftKings or wherever you place your bets, his over-under is at about 50.5. Now, maybe the books, the odds makers, are completely underestimating Travis Kelce, and that will be an absolute smash. He's going to have his usual 80 yards, his 90 yards in the postseason, and that is going to be free money for you. But let's say that he hits the under in this. Let's say that Travis Kelce has 3 catches for 42 yards and doesn't score a touchdown. I don't think that means that the Chiefs won't win this game. Last year, that was absolutely the case. If in any of those postseason games that the Chiefs had last year, if you didn't get great Travis Kelce, you are not going to win. I don't think they need that version of Travis Kelce right now, and that is a testament to how I think this room and this offense has really evolved over the last year or so. Kelce was on Stephen A. Smith's podcast yesterday, and he was asked about retirement. Here's what he said.
It changes every single day, man. I love everything that I'm doing in this building, but at the end of the day, I'm not having that extreme success on the field as I have individually, man. But I'm excited. I'm excited for these next couple of games to play up at Arrowhead to finish this season off. And I'll reevaluate it like I always do, and I'll probably tell myself how much I love this thing, and I'll come back next year. But it's just it's something that you have to keep into perspective, man. And I never want to get to the point where I'm not helping this team win, or I'm hurting this team more than I'm helping this team. So As long as I'm coming out here playing good football and enjoying coming into the building every day with my guys, you'll see me in a Chiefs uniform.
That was Travis Kelce yesterday. He was on the Stephen A. Smith show talking about his career and contemplating retirement. It certainly makes sense. Travis Kelce is 35 years old. He will be 36 years old next season. If you look at the way that his contract is structured, it just makes every sense for him to be back for next season. He is guaranteed $12.5 million for simply being on the roster next year. He gets an extra $250,000 if he shows up for OTAs. He also has a restructure that's going to pay him around $2.5 million, and he makes $4.5 million in game checks next season. I know that Travis Kelce has a bunch of off-the-field options now. He can host a television show. He has a very successful podcast. Travis Kelce has his hands in a lot of different pots. I don't know if there is a job next season that is going to pay him more than simply coming back to play for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I certainly respect Dan Orlowski's opinion, but I don't think this is the end of Travis Kelce. But does he have one more special run in him? And if Travis Kelce has another one of those runs in him, very similar to last season, where he is being considered one of the best pass catchers in the National Football League, then I just don't know how you beat this team. If you're going to incorporate that Travis Kelce to this offense, which we can be honest, they haven't had this season. They haven't had first-team All-Pro, undeniable superstar Travis Kelce offensively for this team. If you're going to add that player to this offense, with all the weapons that they have, with this team getting the amount of rest that they have, with this team's ability to run the football with the two backs they have, this is the best and most well-rounded Chiefs team that I think we've seen during this run. Coming up on the other side, we're going to head to Houston and be joined by our guy Sean Pendergast, who does morning for Sports Radio 610. We'll take a closer look at the Chiefs' opponent on Saturday in the divisional round. Keep it right here. So drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's cold outside, and the cupboard is bare. No worries. Let Hy-Vee do the shopping with Aisles Online. It's easy. Go to Hy-Vee.com, choose your store, select your items, and schedule a convenient pickup or delivery time. Right now, get $10 off any $125 Aisles Online purchase. What could be better? We do the shopping and deliver your groceries. You stay warm and save money. Download the Aisles Online app or go to Hy-Vee.com today.
As the Chiefs go for a three-peat in the big game, Hy-Vee's making my life easier. Hy-Vee's my one-stop shop for all game day needs. From official Chiefs apparel to fan favorites, including wings, ready-to-bake pizza, and freshly prepared dips like spinach artichoke, street corn, and buffalo chicken dip. Hy-Vee has Chiefs-themed cookies and sheet cakes and cupcakes as well. Plus, don't forget the Hy-Vee Wine and Spirits department for all of your game day beverages. Elevate your home gate at Hy-Vee, the official grocery sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs.
For over 87 years, GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, has offered health and dental benefits designed to meet the unique needs of federal employees and retirees, military retirees, and their families. With over 2 million members and growing, GEHA continues to serve those members and families who serve us all every day. At GEHA, your health is not our business, it's our purpose. GEHA, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Learn more at GEHA.com.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-431-2715. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715. 800-431-2715.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things. People. Love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
5 years later, here we are again.
And that's a fake punt. They fake the right side and it's tackled. Short of the first down. Great play. Dirty Dan Sorensen would not be fooled. He's going to try to hold it. Throws it late. And is it caught in the... It's caught. Touchdown. Kansas City. The Chiefs take the lead.
Chiefs and Texans in the divisional round live from Arrowhead Stadium. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Justin Reed. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home of Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We are continuing our trip to Houston to get you ready for the divisional round. Let's head to the phone lines to be joined by one of the best sports talk hosts in the country. He does mornings for Sports Radio 610 down in H-Town. Sean Pendergast joins us on the show today. Sean, how you doing, my man?
I'm great, Carrington. It's good to talk to you. Hey, let me ask you, the promo that we bumped in there with Justin Reed telling everybody to listen to your show, which they should. Your show is awesome. Was that coincidence that it was Justin Reed, or was that planned that it was one of the more popular former Texans who decided to get up and out of here when it was super dysfunctional a couple years ago? Is that just coincidence?
That was just a coincidence. I actually don't control that. The producer, Rob, who called you, he ends up controlling that. But to be fair, we like Justin Reed. You guys like Justin Reed. He was on the field for one of the great comebacks in NFL history. He's very vital to this story.
He's not only was he on the field for that, he was a participant, maybe not a willing participant, but a participant in one of the more pivotal plays in that second quarter comeback when Bill O'Brien decided to call a fake punt for really no reason. Like Bill O'Brien, who had just settled for a field goal like 8 minutes before that on 4th and 1, all of a sudden becomes Riverboat Bill and decides to run a fake punt. And now I'm reliving all of this PTSD that feels like it was 20 years ago, and it feels like it was 20 hours ago. This is going to be a whole lot of fun this weekend, man. We're excited about this game here in Houston.
Sean, you're going to laugh at me. That was actually the last Chiefs game that I went to, that Houston divisional game.
Are you serious?
I'm
what are you saying?
I'm serious. That was the last one I went to.
You haven't been to a Chiefs game in 5 years?
It has been that long. So a little bit behind the scenes, I was actually offered tickets to this one, and I said I don't want them because I know they're going to win. I'm happy to go next week when they play the Bills or the Ravens.
Okay. All right. There's a lot of confidence in that Kansas City camp, man. Which I get. I mean, it's we've heard Nick Wright talking about the practice round that this is coming up on Saturday, and Nick was on our station this week, and the Texans dealt with a lot of this last week against the Chargers, which was very strange because the Chargers are the antithesis of the Kansas City Chiefs when it comes to the postseason. But I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of good that's come out of these last couple of games leading in. The Week 18 game leading in was nice to get CJ looking good again, and then this game against the Chargers, the defense was just at another level. They've played at that level quite a bit this year, always at home, though. They've never quite brought that level of defensive game on the road this season, they're going to need to bring it on the road on Saturday to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right now, we're talking to Sean Pendergast, who does mornings in Houston, getting his thoughts on the divisional round matchup. You mentioned the excitement that Houston fans have. Explain that a little bit more. Are fans nervous about this game, confident about this game? Kind of tell us what the fan temperature is heading into Saturday.
I think, I honestly, I think that Chargers game, the fact that we saw what looked to be the old C.J. Stroud back for about the full second half and the last 2 minutes of the first half of that game, I think just generally has people excited again. That and it all came from a busted play. Like C.J. fumbled a snap, scooped it up. I mean, he was awful in this game before that play, and it was down near the Texans' own goal line, and C.J. scoops up a fumbled snap, and he finds Xavier Hutchinson wide open, and it was almost like a dam broke after that. He had a 128 passer rating after that play. He had a 44 passer rating before that play. Whatever that was, something clicked. And the big thing, too, Carrington, that we saw with CJ in the second half of that game, he was using his legs quite a bit. He was running. He had some nice scrambles, including a 27-yard run that swung field position right before the half to tack on another 3 points. So I think, to answer your question, I think people might have been more nervous about bowing out against the Chargers just because of how the Texans look down the stretch in the postseason. That Chargers game, I think, has people just feeling like, okay, maybe we can go in there and do this thing. If the defense plays to the level it did against Justin Herbert and the Chargers, who had been playing at a pretty high level offensively for most of the season, then maybe we can slay the dragon. I think it's excitement. I don't think people. I trust me, there aren't like 85% of the people picking the Texans here to beat the Chiefs, but I do think like 90% of the people are super excited to go see what can happen on Saturday.
Sean, I'm not picking Houston to win this game. I imagine you're not picking them to win either. But if I had to kind of write down, if a team was going to pull off an upset against the superior opponent, what would they need to have? I do think that Houston has those ingredients. I think they have a very good quarterback. I think they have a very capable defense that can either get after the other team's quarterback or can take the ball away with their secondary. Houston does have a lot of the ingredients for a team that if you were going to pull off the upset, you would kind of do it the way Houston tries to win games.
Yeah, I would agree, and especially particularly on the defensive side of the ball, Carrington, with the pass rush, which wasn't great the first time these two teams played back in Week 16, but was excellent. Most of the season, Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. have just been wreaking havoc, and they've got Danico Autry back now. He was really good in that Chargers game as well. So they've got multiple guys that can get after the quarterback that you have to double team, and you can't double team all of them, so somebody's going to eat. And then on the back end, Derek Stingley Jr. has been the best cornerback on the planet for about the last month and a half. He's been incredible. They've got those elements. I think offensively, yes, they have C.J. Stroud, and he looks to have kind of re-hit his stride. I think the thing that's concerning for me offensively is that Nico Collins is really the only weapon they have that scares other teams. The plan at the beginning of the season was to have Nico and Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, and wow, this is going to be an aerial circus. Well, Tank and Steph aren't there anymore, and they don't really have any other guys after Nico that are man beaters, that can get open without being schemed open. I said this today on our show on Sports Radio 610 here in Houston. The next three guys after Nico are John Mechie III, Xavier Hutchinson, and Robert Woods, and I don't think any of those guys would be anything more than probably the fifth receiver on Kansas City. And you add in the fact that you guys have Travis Kelce at tight end, an aging Travis Kelce, but still an effective Travis Kelce, and the Texans have Dalton Schultz, who's been a disappointment this year. That's the thing that scares me, because that all means the Texans are going to have to run the football, and Joe Mixon is excellent, but their run blocking has been very inconsistent this year. So that's the scary thing for me. Like, it's almost a prerequisite that they're going to have to run the football in this game, and they've been very inconsistent doing that this year.
Right now, we're talking to Sean Pendergast, who covers the Houston Texans. I think C.J. Stroud has it. Like, I've watched enough of these quarterbacks in the league that you can put some in a certain category. Like, I don't think he has it. I look at all the things that you just said. The offensive line's not there for Houston right now. They've had injuries in that wide receiver room. And the fact that he has won a playoff game in back-to-back seasons. So we actually looked this up. Over the last 20 drafts, there have been 64 quarterbacks who have been drafted in the first round. Only 5 of them have won a playoff game in their first 2 years, and he is one of them. I think Stroud is special.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. And I think the regression statistically this year doesn't tell the story that I think a lot of people outside of Houston want to tell, which is they want to say, well, it's a sophomore slump and the league's caught up to him. I would add in the fact that I don't know how great Bobby Slowick has been in calling plays for CJ this year as well. Like, I don't know that he's gotten the best in terms of in-game coaching this year, like the play calling. So I would add that in. CJ, and the other thing I would add in too with CJ Carrington is just not only the it factor, he is incredibly smart. He's very intelligent, very football smart. The scramble that he had that I talked about before that really flipped the game in a way at the end of the first half, he talked about that in his press conference this week, and it was actually the interception that he threw in the first half, which was an awful interception. He came over to the sidelines and was looking at the iPad, and that's where he noticed that the Chargers were not accounting for him in the run game at all. And then he goes and busts off 4 carries for 44 yards in the second half of that game, something he's not done all season long. So I just thought that's just one anecdote of many with CJ where, like, he takes a negative, like throwing an interception, and finds something in there that he's able to use later in the game to really help get the win. Like, you know, you could argue, like, with some of these plays and runs that he had, you know, they were really, really crucial to kind of opening the gateway to them being able to blow out the Chargers.
We have a segment called Spec Says where we let our boss have one sports take a week on our show, and he used his take yesterday to say that he doesn't think that C.J. Stroud is a top 10 quarterback in the league. I would put him in the top 10. Would you put Stroud in your top 10?
Absolutely. I would definitely put him in the top 10. Without looking right now, I 100% would put, I'd put him in the top 10, and at the end of the day, all due respect to your boss and his take, like, I want that guy to be our quarterback here in Houston for the next 15 years. You know, like, wherever he stacks up, you know, so some years are going to be better than others. We've seen that with most quarterbacks. I think right now he is a top 10 quarterback, and I'm glad he's our quarterback.
Right now we're talking to Sean Pendergast. Sean, let's focus in a little bit more on the defense. What do you think is better? Do you think it's that secondary? You mentioned how well Derek Stingley's been playing, or do you think it's the edge rush?
I think it's the edge rushers. I mean, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, how neither of those guys made the Pro Bowl this year is outrageous to me. But I think it's the edge rushers. The secondary is very, very good. It's very, very, very young. Nick Caserio, the GM, has done an awesome job in identifying talent in that secondary. They're missing Jalen Petrie right now, who I think would have been in the running for the Pro Bowl at safety. He's been out for the season since week 15. And obviously Stingley is Stingley. The two rookies they have in the secondary right now, Kamari Lassiter, the opposite corner to Stingley, and Kalen Bullock, who's got 5 interceptions this year, the safety out of USC, a third-round pick, have been incredible. It's not a very deep group, though. You lose one of those guys, and you are really sifting into street free agents and guys like that. The edge rushers, not just Hunter and Anderson, are elite, but they've got other guys there. Derek Barnett has been really good for the Texans since they picked him up last year off of waivers, the former first-round pick for the Eagles. He's been excellent for the Texans. Danico Autry, when he's been on the field, has been really, really good. That's the core nucleus, foundational, like that's the engine that gets certainly the defense and I think the team going is that defensive line. DeMeco Ryans said from the day he got here, he is going to build on defense through the defensive line, and they have definitely done that.
Last couple of questions here. We always ask people in your position, give me a Chiefs win if scenario, give me a Texans win if scenario. I do think that it's pretty clear how Kansas City wins. They're just a better team than Houston.
Yeah.
How do you think Houston pulls off the upset?
I think there's got to be turnovers involved. I think they probably got to be +2 on the turnover margin. I think Mixon needs to be over 100 yards. And I think they need to be clean in the kicking game. You remember the last game these two teams played, the very first play after Tank Dell had his knee blown into smithereens. The very first play, Tiny Fairbairn misses an extra point. They can't leave any points on the field in this game. If they get in the red zone, they've got to score 7s. If they've got chances at field goals, they've got to convert them. They've got to convert their extra points. So I think you can't give away points in this game.
Sean, tomorrow when I come on your show, how much of a villain do you need me to be? Like, I can be mild, I can play it down the middle, or do you really want me to fan the flames of Houston?
I like the way you did it last time, Carrington, where we had really like a cool, like cordial sports talk conversation. And then it was like you and I were kind of like standing in the ring with each other, like just like with our hands both high up in the air, like we were friends. And then I turned around and you just super kicked me right in the face. And, like sudden like that. I kind of like the way you did that last time, just sort of swooping in at the end. Because I think the audience might be like waiting for you to come in and be the villain right away, and you'll lull them into a false sense of security. And then you're just going to give basically a 6 million headed stone cold stunner to Houston when you hit us with something at the end.
You know what? I think I can handle that tomorrow. That is Sean Pendergast joining us on the show. He does fantastic work in Houston for Sports Radio 610, getting you ready for the divisional round matchup between the Chiefs and the Texans. Sean, man, I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow, my man.
Yeah, looking forward to it too, Carrington. Thanks for having me on. I'll talk to you in the morning.
Absolutely. That is Sean Pendergast joining us on the show today. He does fantastic work for Sports Radio 610. I would love to continue talking football with you guys. I really would. We will get back to talking football in just a little bit, but we have a much more serious, a much more pressing topic to discuss. Now, Colin Cowherd has this theory that every sports talk host has a topic that they're really into, but they just don't really get a chance to talk about it a lot. Like maybe you're really into bass fishing, for example. I can't come on here at 2 o'clock and really deep dive and break down bass fishing for you guys. You guys don't care about that. You guys would get me out of here, and I kind of like having this job. But today is one of those days that one of my favorite things to talk about is actually one of the top stories in Kansas City. Kansas basketball. My goodness. I sat down there yesterday, and I'm telling you, there was not a point in the game that I thought KU was going to win. They got completely outclassed, outplayed from start to finish yesterday. And I won't lie to you guys, it made me feel good. You guys get to be a fan. Why don't I get to be a fan? Why don't I get to feel something? I tell you guys this all the time. The Chiefs, the Royals, they're my job. I try to cover it as fair and neutral as possible. I'm a Missouri fan. I can admit that. I want Missouri to win. I don't have anything against K-State. I don't have anything negative or positive. You guys aren't my favorite team, but it warms my spirit to see KU fans nervous, worried about their team. I get a certain smile on my face when I can walk into work and look at Alex Gold and know that for today, he doesn't have anything that he can say, no jokes, no nothing, because he knows what I know. Missouri is a better basketball team than Kansas. That felt so good to say. I'm going to say it one more time in case you didn't hear it. Missouri is a better basketball team than Kansas. Oh, that feels good. It feels so good. Now, you know what? Let me get my fandom part of this and let me talk a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of things. John Kuhn, who I enjoy following him on Twitter, he tweeted this yesterday. He tweeted that the mystique and aura is gone with KU basketball. Hopefully they can regain it, but nobody is intimidated or scared of Kansas in the Big 12 anymore. It took 2 decades, but the cracks are showing at Kansas under Bill Self. Now, I think that's a little hyperbolic. I think that's taking a little bit too far, but we have to accept one thing about college basketball. The rules are changed. That now everybody has a much more equal opportunity at talent. KU has been their best when they get the top high school players. They are able to elevate those players over a 3 to 4 year stretch, and then you go win a championship with those players. That's not really the era of college basketball that we're in. Things changed really quickly. KU won the national championship 3 years ago. Did you know that all 5 of their starters started their career at KU and ended their career at KU? That's not college basketball right now. Coaches aren't recruiting high school kids like that anymore, and kids are transferring now because you can freely now. That's where I think KU has put themselves somewhat in the mix. They're Kansas. I'm not here telling you that they're bad. I'm not telling you that they don't still get top recruits. They don't have a home court advantage. They obviously have all of those things, but it is much more of a level playing field for transfers, and that's what I think has diluted the talent at Kansas just a little bit. If you don't get the marquee high school talent anymore, because those are just fewer players than they are, Rob, 10, 15 years ago, there were more high school seniors and college freshmen that moved the needle and could instantly contribute at an absolute highest level. And you weren't really worried about your ability to retain those kids 10, 15 years ago because of the rules. If you transferred, you had to sit out. Well, that's not the era that we're in right now. So then once that kid goes to KU as a freshman and then he says, hey, I'm not playing, I want to go somewhere else, and then that kid transfers, everybody has an equal chance at that player now. And that's where I think KU has struggled. I think they've struggled in the transfer portal. They don't have a significant advantage in the transfer portal. I'll take it one step further. Missouri did better in the transfer portal this year than Kansas did. Missouri got more talent in the transfer portal than Kansas did. You've never been able to say that. The playing field has been leveled. Once you get to that level, Adidas money is the same as this booster's money, is the same as this person's money. Everybody's spending money. I don't think we want to know how much the payroll is to maintain some of these college basketball teams. We just had John Kurtz, shout out to John Kurtz, who covers K-State. He believes that K-State spends between $5 and $10 million on their basketball team. So you're going to get top recruits. Now, you got to coach them once they get there. You got to get the right kids. You got to have the right mix. But once you get into that, it becomes far more random in the portal than it was before. KU had a clear system of how they were better than everybody else. We're going to get the top 30 high school seniors. We're going to get our pick. They're going to stay here 3-4 years. We're going to turn them into players whose name is going to be in the rafters. We're going to coach them up better than anybody else, and we're going to have a chance to win a championship. It's not really what college basketball is right now. I was wondering this as I was kind of getting ready for the show. Would KU recruit Devontae Graham right now? Devontae Graham was not a 5-star kid, not the number one recruit in the country. He was a kid that originally committed to what? Appalachian State, then went to a prep school, then went to KU. I don't know if KU recruits Devontae Graham. I'm also not entirely sure if Devontae Graham stays all 4 years at Kansas with the way the climate is now. That kid plays his freshman year. He's okay. You guys want to get a 22-year-old kid that played basketball at Duke that's now transferring, and you push that kid out. That's just kind of where we are in the sport. It changed really, really quickly. I think the KU hitched their wagon to the wrong nucleus this season. I was saying this from the very beginning, and I was getting called a hater and said I didn't know anything. You are not winning anything if Hunter Dickinson's your best player. You're not. We've seen 4 years of college basketball of Hunter Dickinson and know that he can't guard anybody. He can't. You put him in a pick and roll situation, he is barbecue chicken. And teams know that now. They're getting him away from the basket. You do a little bit of a pick and roll. He's food out there. KJ Adams has not gotten better in 2 years. DeJuan Harris still can't shoot after 4 years of being at KU. That's your nucleus. If those are your top 3 players and you miss a couple of times in the transfer portal, you kind of get what you got. I don't think I've ever seen a KU team that can't score. This KU team can't score. They've hit the under in 12 consecutive games. 12. Every night. They scored 47 points a couple of nights ago against Cincinnati. That's not the KU that we grew up with. The KU that I grew up with, high flying, Wayne Selden dunks, they're scoring 80 points. It's an exciting brand of basketball. KU is Midwest Virginia right now. There's some fundamental things wrong with Kansas basketball right now. You have the right person in charge to fix things a little bit, but I do think KU fans have to acknowledge, man, that day of you just have more talent than everybody else, that day is over in college basketball. We used to kind of look at the rest of the Big 12 and you would ask yourself, what kids at Iowa State would start at KU? What kids at Oklahoma State would start at KU? A bunch of them today would start. Now that every player is a free agent at the end of every basketball season, it has made things a little bit more interesting. It's made things a little bit more random. KU will be fine. They'll go back to winning national championships. They'll go back to being the best team. They will hit the transfer portal slot machine one more time, and they'll have more success. But right now, KU looks like a 4 seed or a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. I can't believe how many times we've sat there and watched them just get absolutely pummeled this year. Creighton pummeled them. Iowa State pummeled them. They lost a home game to West Virginia. They got more losses coming up from that KU team. This is not a good KU team at all, in my opinion. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score 6. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 965. That's code 965 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, beyond the surface.
At Shane Company, we'll help you create a ring as unique as your love story. We have the biggest selection of diamonds in all shapes and sizes, and center stones in an array of colors, including sapphires in blue, pink, green, lavender, and more. Just the other day, a couple picked out a blue sapphire that perfectly matched her eyes, and they left knowing her ring was truly one of a kind. That's what happens at Shane Company. Come check us out. You might just fall in love with something unexpected. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
After 30 years of doing knee and hip replacements, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup thought there had to be a better way, and that led him to regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it.
Now, after 20 years of successful orthobiologic treatments, lots of clinical data, research, and teaching, Dr. Scheinkup is National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
They've done an amazing job of becoming the most significant orthobiologic and regenerative medicine practice in the United States. QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
So if you have chronic pain from arthritis and you want to avoid drugs and surgery, call the experts in this revolutionary field, QC Kinetics.
To give patients real lasting relief from pain, that's what I live for. That's my mission.
Get your free consultation now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This afternoon, expect sunny conditions with a high of 40.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
I want to read a series of tweets to you guys. This isn't funny, but it is funny. So you guys know that there are a lot of celebrities that are chiming in with thoughts and prayers about what's happening in California, right? You should. You got a platform and you can help. You're using your platform for good. I'm all for that. I support it. Rob, are you familiar with Lil' Kim?
I recognize the name.
The Queen Bee, rapper extraordinaire.
Wait, hold on. I thought Queen Bee was Beyonce.
No, the original Queen Bee was Lil' Kim.
That part's news to me.
Back in the day. So Lil' Kim tweeted out, "Hey guys, I have been sending strong prayers up for Los Angeles and everyone affected by the fires. This is so heartbreaking. I pray to Jesus that God will make it monsoon in Los Angeles." Understandably, people were chiming in that also would not solve the problem in Los Angeles right now if a monsoon happened right now. Rob, I would assume that this would be the end of this conversation, right? Hey, I made a mistake. I didn't mean it that way. I used the wrong context. She has been receiving so many tweets, she followed up with a little bit more of an explanation. Can I read that to you? "Hey guys, I want to let you know that what's happening in LA is devastating, but what LA needs right now is rain. So what's the issue? Doesn't everyone understand that a monsoon is heavy rain? I'm just praying that everyone stays positive during such a tragic situation." You know what? You could have just said thoughts and prayers, and it would have, you know what? Everybody would have agreed with you. Everybody would have been on the same page. Lil' Kim, no. Los Angeles does not need a monsoon. They do not. They have enough going on right now. I don't know if having another natural disaster is the solution to what's going on in California right now. That's why I said it's funny, but it's also not funny. But if you were wondering what Lil' Kim is thinking at a time like this, the Queen Bee, I just wanted to read it to you, Rob. I wanted you to know what Lil' Kim is offering up her thoughts to help the people in California right now during this very trying time.
Here's the thing. Her original tweet was bad, but I can understand the mistake she made. She was thinking it needs rain, monsoon is rain. It's wrong, but I can see the path. It's when she doubled down where she lost everyone.
She followed it up.
She was like, I don't get why people think I'm wrong. Monsoons are rain. Rain is good. Boom. Why don't you just ask for a tsunami, Lil' Kim? That's a bunch of water. Boom. Tsunami.
That's what she said.
That'll cure the problem.
She thinks that a flood would solve the issues in California. I mean,
what would happen if a hurricane hit? It seems like a solution.
Who am I to argue? I'm not here to argue with Lil' Kim. I'm here as a messenger.
Also, why'd you make it a monsoon? Just say, I hope they get rain. No one would have been like, whoa, why do you want rain? Regular rain will help.
I think her point was that they need an abundance of rain. They don't just need a small amount of rain.
That's where she messed up.
They need a lot of rain.
That's
what she was
mistake.
trying to say. Again, I'm simply here as a messenger, and I'm trying to read to you what Lil' Kim had to say. I want to read to you what Pete Sweeney had to say. Are we even allowed to read what Pete Sweeney had to say? I still love Pete. Pete is still a dear friend of mine. But are we even allowed to read the thoughts and opinions of one Pete Sweeney? Are we even allowed to go on the website Arrowhead Pride anymore? You used to be my brother, Pete, and you turned on us.
I changed his name in my phone to Benedict Arnold.
He's not even in my phone anymore. He sent me a text a couple of days ago. I just said, who this? Why am I even talking to you? You're dead to me, Pete Sweeney. He tweeted this out, though, earlier today. This is from our guy, Pete Sweeney. Regarding the two most asked questions regarding Saturday, my feel here is that the Chiefs are going to ride with Joe Thuney at left tackle and that Jalen Watson starts, playing about 50% of the defensive snaps. You know what? That is a great plan. That's the plan that I have been suggesting on this show. I, too, would continue to have Joe Thuney playing left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to dance with the girl that brought you here. And the girl that brought you here, it's very, very simple. It's Joe Thuney. DJ Humphries, I wish that things had gone a little bit different. And I'm not saying you're completely out of the conversation. There's probably some packages and ways that you can help the Kansas City Chiefs that I am open to. But I don't know how you can see the Chiefs play their best football in the final month of the season and then heading into a do-or-die single elimination scenario, say, no, let's switch it up. No, I don't want them to do anything different than they did the last time they played the Houston Texans. I don't want them to do anything different than when I saw them play the Pittsburgh Steelers. What you were doing was working. And I don't really want to play the hypothetical game at this point in the season. The hypothetical game is really good in Week 11. I love a Week 11 hypothetical. That's what this show runs off of. What if? How about? Hypothetical button game. I love a hypothetical. I'm not playing that game in January. It's the playoffs. You're 2 games away from the Super Bowl. You're 2 games away from going to New Orleans. I'm done playing hypotheticals. I'm done playing what ifs. I'm going off what I know. I'm going off what the little computer box tells me. Word to Sean Barber, who's coming in the 5 o'clock hour. I know their offensive line with Joe Thuney at left tackle works. I know it does. I've seen it. It's tangible. I can watch the film. I can break down the numbers. I've saw what that offensive line has done against a premier pass rush like Houston. Oh, wait, they play them again on Saturday. So if that's the feeling that Pete Sweeney is getting, good, great. That's the feeling I want you to have. I want Joe Thuney to start at left tackle on Saturday against the Texans.
We had Josh Briscoe on the show yesterday, and I understood his point when he explained why he wants DJ Humphries. A lot of people who want DJ Humphries, their whole logic behind it stems from Thuney is better at left guard than Caliendo is at left guard. And I understand that, and I get it. And when they signed DJ Humphries, that plan was great. But Carrington, I'm with you. Joe Thuney is the best left tackle on the roster right now. Maybe not the best natural left tackle. He's the best option at left tackle. Mike Caliendo is fine. He is the epitome of survive in advance. Is Joe Thuney better at left guard? Yes. But you know what was happening with Joe Thuney at left guard and with Turnstile at left tackle? It didn't really matter how good the run game was because Suamataia and Wanya Morris are a problem. Sure up that problem with the best available player. That's Thuney. Make it work as best you can left guard, and let's go get this thing. But people pushing for Humphries seem to have this one big point, and that's, hey, see, if we play Humphries, Thuney is better than Caliendo, and we're ignoring that Thuney might be better than Humphries at left tackle. It's the obvious play, and I hope that person who was a traitor is correct in his feel because that is the best path for the Chiefs.
It's not even close to me that it's the best. Not at all. It's not even close that this is the best option. This is the best thing for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I support this decision to play Joe Thuney at left tackle. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to head back to Houston and be joined by our guy, Ron the Show Hughley. Before we do that, LeBron James, you guys know him. He's very good at basketball. He's bigging up Patrick Mahomes.
I think Pat Mahomes is obviously one of the greatest to ever play the sport. He can do everything. He can throw the ball in the pocket. He can go 3-step drops. He can go 5-step drops. He can roll out on scrambles and make passes. He can throw sidearm. He can throw a crossbody. You know, the NFL rule is don't throw across the field or throw across your body. He's an exception to the rule because of how great he is. I think the best parallel that I would say between, Pat Mahomes and myself in our first 7 years is that we kind of just changed the way you kind of view the game. He's doing a hell of a lot better than I did in my first 7 years. I think that he got, 3 chips already?
Are you kidding?
You wouldn't be wrong if you said Pat Mahomes was your number one for greatest quarterbacks of all time. You wouldn't be wrong if you said Brady. There's just 2 guys that transcended the sport, 2 guys that are just amazing.
Look at that. LeBron James bigging up Patrick Mahomes. Salute to Patrick Mahomes. Salute to LeBron James as he was shouting out two GOATs, 2 legends, showing each other a little bit of respect. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to head back to Houston for our final trip. This might be our final trip for the week. I'm not sure, Rob. We're still working on getting the play-by-play guy tomorrow.
The play-by-play voice will be on the show tomorrow. So
okay,
it's not
I didn't
our
know.
Final trip.
I didn't know. You've been kind of slipping. You know what? You're kind of like Hunter Dickinson. You came in from the transfer portal with a lot of hype. I don't know if you've lived up to the hype. So we do have the play-by-play guy on tomorrow. You know what? We might have to bump your NIL package. We might have to take care of you here on 96.5 The Fan. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by Ron the Show Hughley. We'll take one last look in Houston. That's coming up. Keep it right here. So drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Alex Gold, and since I'm the single guy here at the station, yeah, I know.
Wow, how surprising.
They're having me read this promo about Instagram. You probably didn't even know we had an Instagram, right?
Hello, Instagram followers.
But now you do. So do me a favor and go follow us at The Fan 96.5. Win tickets, get behind-the-scenes content from the station. Plus, watch videos like Chiefs Take Tuesday and Best Bets on Sundays.
100%.
You're listening to your home for Kansas City sports, 96.5 The Fan.
Hey, Missouri sports fans, I've got great news for you. Underdog is available to play in your state. Underdog is the best place to cash in on all of your takes during the playoffs. Which players are going to go off and which ones are going to stay ice cold. And with over 5 million happy players and 2 billion won, Underdog makes it fun and easy to cash in on all of your favorite athlete performances. Underdog is the only champs platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. Now you can either keep riding with your entry or tap the Win Now button to cash out whenever you want. And every dog deserves a second chance. And with Underdog Rescues, you can get your money back and receive a promo code if an early injury causes your entry to lose. Underdog is the best place to play champs. Download the app, sign up with promo code BOB, and deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code BOB. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Listen, you've been making house payments for years, right? And right now your home's value has never been higher, right? That means you're likely sitting on a small fortune in equity. And good for you. That's cash you could use to help secure your retirement, solve all your financial burdens, enable you to travel everything you want. The catch is, you're not ready to move. No problem. You don't have to with TrueHold. Sell and stay leaseback program. It's a genius financial strategy. You sell your home to TrueHold while its value is high. You bank all the equity in cash now, and you can stay as long as you like with an easy, affordable lease. And TrueHold pays property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. TrueHold unlocks your wealth without uprooting your life. Get a TrueHold offer now while your home's value is sky high. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out without moving out. TrueHold.com.
Paid for client portrayal and endorsement. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results, and every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
After my car wreck, there was a lot I didn't know.
I do know. My team knows injury law. We can help you understand all of your legal rights so that you don't get cheated.
DM Law knew what to do and got me $150,000.
Mike's got this. If you've been hurt in a car wreck, call me. I've got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state, back and forth, dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hey guys, it's C-Dot here to remind you to download the Odyssey app so you can listen to 96.5 wherever you are straight from your phone. You have the option to listen live, listen on demand throughout the day at your convenience, or you can listen to any of our original podcasts like Character Concerns and 249 Miles of College Football. Plus, if you're in Kansas City, you can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs game with Mitch Holtis, Danny Hughes, and our guy Kling. Download the free Odyssey app today and follow 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports.
What's up, KC? It's Hollywood Brown. Catch the play-by-play all season long with Mitch, Danny, and Clean right here on your home of Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. Let's head to the phone lines right now to take a closer look at the Houston Texans. He hosts Afternoons in Houston Texans. You guys know him well. Ron the Show Hughley joins us on the show today. Ron, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, baby. I'm down here in Houston, doing the show every day, and I find it very interesting the approach from Texans fans. It really cracks me up out here. I was going back and forth with somebody on the text line. Hell, they might have texted you, as so happens between our two shows historically. But dude was just talking trash, and I just said, do you at all feel uncomfortable as a Texans fan talking trash like this about the Chiefs? I said, because I feel uncomfortable as a Royals fan talking trash, like big trash to Astros fans.
This is what I'll say in Houston's defense, and I hate to play devil's advocate when I feel like that's why we have you on to be the devil's advocate. I am picking the Chiefs to win this game, obviously. They're the better team. But if you were to come up with how you would pull off an upset of this magnitude, and I've said that I think this would be the biggest upset in the NFL since Tennessee beat the Ravens in that playoff game and the Titans went to the AFC Championship game. The Texans do have the pieces. They have a very talented quarterback who has shown that he can play well in big games. They have maybe the better defense out of the two. Certainly a pass rush that can get after the other team's quarterback. They might have the best corner in the NFL who can create turnovers, and Houston can win the turnover margin. Again, I am not picking Houston to win this game, but there is a 15% chance that Houston can come into Kansas City and pull off the upset.
Oh, absolutely. No, I will not walk away from this game shocked off my ass if the Texans won the game. That's not what it's about. It is just like, hey, man, there's a little, like if I'm going up against the absolute, standard and like the beast, the big dog, like I'm not talking trash to them like I'm that. like it's, to me, it's like, hey, man, the Hornets or the Hawks in the 90s, they about to just go talk. I mean, all kinds of fresh trash to the Bulls. Like, it just feels weird. I think there's a chance. There's absolutely a chance. I don't think this is a just absolute shoe-in victory for the Chiefs. I'm just simply saying I find it interesting, the approach of the fans. That's not like, hey, man, let's see if we can come here and pull this off. It's like, hey, you gonna be left crying, and y'all we about to go in there and plant our flag in the middle of the stadium. I'm like, okay, boss, okay, but no, there is absolutely a way, and it's not a miracle. There's absolutely a route that this team can win this game against the Chiefs.
Ron, is there anywhere on the field that you think Houston has the advantage?
Yeah, I think obviously now it did not show up in the last game, but obviously, like, to me, I think I think they have the best edge rushing room in football. I think we talked about this the last time they played with Hunter, but they can throw out you with Hunter and Will Anderson. Both had double-digit sacks with Danico Autry, who they can move in or out. And then if you remember the first game, like maybe the closest hit they got in the game from a guy in the front four was Barnett, who got that almost fumble return for a touchdown, but he hit him in the head, which was a penalty. Like they can throw him out there. So I think they are better than the tackles. And then I think their corners are really, really good. I think both Stingley and Lassiter, the way that he has played, they're really, really good. So I think those are two spaces where I think I would give them the edge in those spots.
Right now, we're talking to Ron the Show Hughley, getting you ready for the divisional round matchup between the Chiefs and the Texans. We were having a debate about this on the show yesterday. I'm a C.J. Stroud believer. We had a stat. Over the last 20 drafts, there have been 64 quarterbacks who have been drafted in round one. Only 5 of them have won a playoff game in their first 2 years as a starter, and C.J. Stroud is one of those players. I kind of think what is happening is, and a lot of people like Jaden Daniels, and certainly understandable. He has had a phenomenal rookie year. I feel like everybody felt that way about C.J. Stroud last year, and now we've just shifted that love, that Stroud didn't take that big jump the way that people thought he was, and now they've kind of moved on to other players. But I'm still very much a believer in a 23-year-old C.J. Stroud.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a believer. Now, yeah, he took a step back, and he's had some struggles. Now, there are some things that you're looking at it that you want to improve, and you want to hope, like, all right, now he makes an adjustment. There's some decisions that he's made or some things that he's not seeing well. Like, there's just one thing for me with CJ. Like, I don't think he comes in this thing intimidated at all. I think he walks in here confident and not intimidated. He won't be scared of the moment. But no, hell no. There's no way. Like, before Jaden Daniels walked around, and then you could honestly put the numbers side by side and debate it, especially when you talk about situations. Like, I mean, he's had maybe the best rookie season we've ever seen from a quarterback. And you know, and still had moments this year. And the kid is a winner and has, you know, a good head on his shoulders. And you know, I think I'd like to see a adjustment period for this. Like, I won't be surprised if Jaden Daniels takes a step back with more tape and what defensive coordinators can see that they want to try to take away from him. So I think it would be crazy for anyone to just say, "Oh, yeah, I think I take the C.J. Stroud elite quarterback potential out." It is still there. Now, if he continues to struggle with some of the things like post-snap, his issues post-snap and reading things and making the decisions that he has sometimes made that's led to more turnovers this year, then we'll have to take another look, but not yet.
In this game, do you think that C.J. Stroud has enough firepower to win this game? You're missing Stephon Diggs. He's been out for a while. Tank Dell got an injury the last time that these two teams played each other. I mean, this game is probably going to be played in the upper 20s and 30s, at least for Kansas City, based on what I saw their offense do before this extended amount of rest. Do you think that Houston has enough firepower to keep up with Kansas City?
No. And that's the big thing. I know Deontay Johnson's crazy as hell, and clearly that didn't work out, and I promise you, Carrington, I will get down to the bottom of this. I will find out what exactly the hell happened. All I know is they're popping drinks and lighting up cigars, and apparently he is just losing his mind, angry in the locker room after a double-digit win. But I need to get down to the bottom of this. But even though he's nuts, he was the second most talented receiver they had in their room in there, with the injuries to Diggs and Tank Dell, right? And now there is issues, and this just happened. Here, Joe Mixon showed up on the injury report yesterday with an ankle and then didn't practice today. So that is something to watch, and they got to have him. Robert Woods has not practiced all week long, and hell, you could argue he may be the team's number 2. So they're bringing some Wayne fella up. The only reason why I know who he is because he's the one that Tank Dell ran into in that end zone that injured himself. They're bringing him up off the practice squad. So, yes, like right now you look at it, and they got Nico and they got Joe Mixon. And I would think Spags is going to try to do what he can to at least take one of those options away. So, yeah, that is a big concern to me to see if they've got enough. And another stat here, in the last 12 weeks, the Texans' offense has scored 2 touchdowns, more than 2 touchdowns once in the last 12 weeks. 11 of the last 12 games, they have been 2 touchdowns or below from an offensive standpoint. Now, the defense has scored 5 times in that time frame to help them, but they've been 14 points or lower, or I mean, at least in terms of touchdowns in the last 12 weeks. So, and that's with having Tank Dell in there in some of those games. So, yeah, it's their margin of error on offense is really, really small.
Ron, if you had to make these are my 5 least favorite KU players, do you have Hunter Dickinson starting?
Number 1. He is number 1.
He's number 1 on your list?
Oh, Carrington, it is becoming like he gets me – like I've given up on this season in terms of Final Four. I've done that. last week because I know if they play Houston's going to run them out of the gym. They play anybody with any level of toughness or aggressiveness, they're going to whoop their ass because it starts with the head with Hunter. But he gets me so angry. I don't know if Rob feels this way, a fellow KU fan. He makes me so mad watching him. Nick Bradford was at the top of the list, like with a bullet. But he just pisses me off every time I watch him. That rebound he just let lie on the floor that led to that wide open three from Lipsy. He is just so. But he's on a home run trot on a pick and roll. You need a play, put Hunter in pick and roll. He's going to lazily run his ass nowhere. He frustrates the hell out of me. Oh, he's number one. Easy.
Ron, I've actually enjoyed this Kansas basketball season. That is Ron the Show Hughley joining us on the show today, getting you ready for KU's game this weekend against K-State. And also
I will do you one better. Missouri's better than Kansas. If they played a 7-game series, I think Missouri would win it. I just admitted that. And I almost threw up just saying it.
You know what, Ron? Thank you, man. That's all I needed today, man. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
Shut up.
I love when people can live their truth. Too many times in society, people feel like they need to hide who they are. Why? Live your truth. Don't let outside influences and outside people stop you from living your life. That's how Ron feels. He feels that this season, Dennis Gates has put together the superior basketball team. I mean, we have a head-to-head example of when these two teams play each other, what could potentially happen. And at times it got ugly for the Jayhawks. It was never ugly for the Tigers. It got ugly for KU. So I'm just happy that Ron is living out his truth, man. Good luck to the Kansas Jayhawks as they are aspiring for a 7th place finish in the Big 12 this year. I'm sure they have a lock on a 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, and I can't wait to pick the 12 seed against them in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Coming up on the other side, Ron gave a very good stat about Houston's offense. If that stat is real, then Houston is in a world of trouble. We'll get to it. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call Heartland Men's Health today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at Heartland Men's Health will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. That's heartlandmenshealth.com. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
It's playoff time, KC. Join Cody and Gold Friday from 10 to 2 as they broadcast live from the Rally House at Barry Woods Crossing. Shop the latest KC styles and official postseason gear, plus enter to win Rally House gift cards while you're there. Details at 965thefan.com.
For over 87 years, GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, has offered health and dental benefits designed to meet the unique needs of federal employees and retirees, military retirees, and their families. With over 2 million members and growing, GEHA continues to serve those members and families who serve us all every day. At GEHA, your health is not our business, it's our purpose. GEHA, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Learn more at GEHA.com.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry game begins, emotions run high, legends are created, School pride hangs in the balance. Memories that last a lifetime will be made, because each game is the most important game in history. At least, until the next one. Get in the game with your chance to win up to $50,000. The Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery. See kslottery.com for details.
Something big is happening at Hy-Vee. We've just lowered thousands and thousands of prices on thousands and thousands of items in every aisle and in every department. Online, too. And on many of your favorite products, we've even matched prices with some of the biggest discount stores in the country. Because we get it, times are still tough. So we'll continue to work hard to bring you new lower prices on thousands of items. Things are looking different at Hy-Vee. Come see for yourself.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. Get the savings you want on America's largest 5G network. Visit T-Mobile.com/choice55 and start saving today.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
It's Brian Baldinger with the Journey to the Big Game presented by Hyundai. After a wild weekend, Detroit and Philadelphia look to continue their hot streaks while Kansas City gets their first shot at a three-peat. However, one game stands above the rest as the MVP favorites in Baltimore and Buffalo go head-to-head in an epic playoff battle. Journey to the Big Game is presented by Hyundai. Now you can buy a new Hyundai at Amazon. Visit HyundaiUSA.com for more details.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash closing the right lane of southbound 435 just past Gregory, and another crash closing the left lane northbound 69 highway right at 151st Street. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. The Drive with Carrington Harrison. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 96.5 The Fan.
I want to play for you guys a cut from Ron the Show Hughley. We just had him on the show. If you missed it, check out the podcast page. Danny Parkins is going to be on the show coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We're also going to have Sean Barber. Barbershop will be in studio in the 5 o'clock hour. Listen to what Ron had to say about the Houston offense. It's lacking a little punch.
Like right now, you look at it, and they got Nico and they got Joe Mixon. And I would think Spags is going to try to do what he can to at least take one of those options away. So, yeah, that is a big concern to me to see if they've got enough. And another stat here, in the last 12 weeks, the Texans' offense has scored 2 touchdowns, more than 2 touchdowns once in the last 12 weeks. 11 of the last 12 games, they have been 2 touchdowns or below from an offensive standpoint. Now, the defense has scored 5 times in that time frame to help them. but they've been 14 points or lower, or at least in terms of touchdowns in the last 12 weeks. So, and that's with having Tank Dell in there in some of those games. So, yeah, it's their margin of error on offense is really, really small.
Rob, this is why I think, at least in this matchup, and I hope that I'm being clear that you guys understand what I'm saying. I don't think that Houston can beat Kansas City. I think that the Chiefs could lose to Houston. Everything he is describing with Houston sounds like a any given Sunday scenario, right? If you can't score against Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, I don't know how you find a reasonable path to victory, especially when you believe the Chiefs' offense is as equipped as it's been in maybe 2-3 years. You've got your full complement of offensive weapons. You've got 2 capable running backs. I feel pretty confident that the Chiefs are going to score on Saturday. Now, I don't know if they're hanging 40 on the board. I feel pretty comfortable in saying that the Chiefs will score at least 27 points on Saturday. At least 27 points. So what you're saying is, well, Houston, their offense isn't going to do the scoring, so they're going to have to muddy the game up. How do you muddy the game up? You get pressure on the other team's quarterback. You force turnovers. You create short fields. You score a defensive touchdown. You get help on special teams. Those are usually the ingredients of an upset. How do teams lose? How does the favorite lose? Well, you got to play a C+ game, a B- game, and the other team needs to check almost every single box. In order for Houston to win this game, in my opinion, they have to figure out a way to muddy this game up with their defense. I don't think that they can score enough to keep up with Kansas City. You're telling me in the last 3 months there's only been one game that you've scored more than 2 offensive touchdowns? I'm sorry, you're not beating Kansas City 17-14 on Saturday. You're not. I know it's not going to be the warmest outside, but I'm not talking about there's going to be no rain, no snow. It's going to be clear conditions. You're not holding Kansas City to 17 points. Not when Andy Reid has been trapped in the basement for the last 3 weeks watching 1942 Army-Navy games thinking of plays. You ain't holding Kansas City to 17 points. So you're going to have to beat Kansas City 27-24. You're going to have to beat Kansas City 31-24, 31-27 if you think you're coming into Arrowhead, or you're going to have to play exceptional defense. You're going to need Will Anderson to get 2 sacks. You're going to need Danielle Hunter to have a forced fumble. You're going to need a pick 6 from Derek Stingley. You're going to need to do something similar to what you did to the Chargers to the Chiefs. And we've seen a lot of playoff games over the last decade or so. The Chargers and the Chiefs are not the same come this time of the season.
And this is why, this is not some earth-shattering take, this is why I think left tackle is the most important conversation with the Chiefs this week. It is the only conversation with the Chiefs because the Texans are not going to outscore Kansas City. They just aren't. If Kansas City can get to 27, I think they have iced down a victory. Whether that happens at halftime, the end of the I don't care. I don't think Houston can get to 28 points. I think Houston's best and only path to victory is exactly what you said, muddying up the waters. And they have the defense to do it. If the Chiefs make a mistake at left tackle, pick a player, whether it be Tooney or Humphreys, whichever one you think should not start. If they go with that guy, and that guy is getting cooked by Will Anderson, if Danielle Hunter is just absolutely going through that left tackle, then yeah, the Texans are able to muddy the water, and suddenly it's a dogfight, and we'll see. The Chiefs have won a lot of dogfights this year, so I don't know that even that guarantees Houston a win, but that's why left tackle to me is the conversation. And I know offensive line talk on radio is the opposite of sexy. It's boring, but the path for Houston is Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, Danico Autry. That group take advantage of an iffy offensive line with left tackle whomever, and they win a game like 19-17. Remember the game? It was all because of injury. That Colts team came into Kansas City.
Yeah, the Chiefs were super banged up.
The Chiefs were banged up, but they lost, 19-13 or something like that? And because the offensive line was banged up and the Colts just dominated the line of scrimmage. If that happens in this game, which could happen with a bad left tackle play, then yeah, the Texans can win. But this is not a shootout like the Texans game with Bill O'Brien where it's 51-31. Texans aren't getting to 31.
Yeah, then I would say then the only hope then is that DJ Humphrey plays and you can take advantage of the fact that his timing is off and there's rust there. Because you say iffy offensive line. I know that their offensive line has certainly been that for a period this season. Their offensive line wasn't that with Joe Thuney at left tackle. We saw that offensive line go up against Houston. They got 1 sack in the game for -9 yards. So I don't know if there's a reason to think that with the Chiefs' offensive line, if they're going to roll the same 5 out there as the last matchup, that now Houston gets 5 sacks on Saturday. I don't know if that's very realistic. So their hope would be DJ Humphries is there. He's a little bit, he's a step behind. He hasn't gotten a lot of live reps, a lot of action this season. And that's somewhere that you could potentially take advantage of. And you can do your damage before the Chiefs can make an adjustment. I do want to read this to you. This was from Scott Kazmar, who is one of the best NFL follows on Twitter. So his tweet was, this is the Chiefs' margin of victory in the 4 playoff openers that Mahomes didn't get injured. Because they've had a couple of games. Jacksonville, remember, Mahomes left with an injury. Cleveland, Mahomes left with an injury. That obviously changes anything that we're talking about if in the second quarter Carson Wentz comes in the game and he finishes the game. So in 2018, the Chiefs scored 31 points. In 2019, they scored 51 points. In 2021 with the Steelers, they scored 42 points. And last season, when it was ice cold outside against the Dolphins, they scored 26 points. The Chiefs are scoring in this game. It's that simple. They're scoring. So if Houston can't score 3 touchdowns, a couple of field goals, maybe you get a defensive score, I just don't know what your path is to victory unless you're going to get some non-offensive touchdowns, defense, special teams, etc. I would like to do a quick exercise with my dear friend Rob Brinton here that I got this idea because of Sean Payton. So Sean Payton met with the media a couple of days ago, and he said that he believes that the Broncos have the answer at quarterback. And it got me thinking, if we had to kind of compartmentalize the AFC, how many teams are certain at quarterback, how many teams are uncertain at quarterback, and how many teams are a nope? It is time for you to completely erase the board and start over at the position. So I decided to put them in a group. Rob, hit me with some music. All right, I have 7 teams in the AFC that are certain that they have their quarterback. I have Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, and the Los Angeles Chargers. I have those 7 teams in the AFC that are certain that they have their franchise quarterback.
So let's take these one by one. I'm not going to worry about Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. That's yes. Broncos is a yes already. I think
Sean Payton just said he feels like they got their guy at quarterback.
Sean Payton's the king of telling me about. He likes to spin a yarn. He almost drafted Mahomes?
He just said he thinks he knows, and both just put together a pretty good year. If I'm Denver, I feel like we have the answer at quarterback heading into next year. Now, you got to do some other stuff. They need to add a running back. I would go pick up another wide receiver. But Denver should feel like they're in a really good position with a good quarterback on a rookie contract the next couple of years. You're not convincing me to move Denver to another category. Denver is certain that they have their guy at the position.
I would move Bo Nix. I feel like the 1-year sample size game is just a problem here. Stroud, I'm on the fence with, but Stroud's been a playoff team twice. If you want to put Stroud as in but barely in, cool. But Bo Nix has played 1 season in NFL football, and we have him in the same we know as far as CJ Stroud and Justin Herbert. I need a larger sample size of Bo Nix before I put him in that category. We have seen sophomore slumps. We have seen sophomore regression. We have seen steps back before in the National Football League. Or we've seen guys plateau after their rookie year. Remember how exciting the NFL was when Kyler Murray was slinging it around his rookie year? He's done nothing since. He's just existed out in Arizona and racked up Call of Duty XP. That's what he's done. So I just need a larger sample size before I'm putting Bo Nix in the yes category. I think he needs to be in that we think so, but we're not certain category.
Yeah, so no, I have 7 teams in there. Buffalo, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Houston, Denver, Kansas City, and the Chargers. Moving to my uncertain, these are teams that don't know if they have their franchise quarterback or not. I have Miami, New England, Indianapolis, and Jacksonville. Those are the 4 teams that I have in the uncertain category. I'm not going to put them firmly in the yes. I'm also not in the position that they need to start over at quarterback. I think those are the 4 teams that are on the fence about where they are.
That's probably the correct. I would put Denver in this grouping, but that's the grouping. I think Jags fans will tell you the way they've paid, they're kind of in the other category, but I'm not a believer in Trevor Lawrence, and I know you aren't. Man, Tua's the weird one here. Tua's just, when he's healthy, Tua is actually a good NFL quarterback, and they have invested resources in him and his weaponry and everything. It's just his health continues to be a massive question for him. Tua's the one where I feel like I don't know what to do with, but I have no problem with him being the uncertain category.
Well, I'll ask you right now then, if you want to move the Broncos to that middle tier, that's 5 teams. That's Miami, New England, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Denver. Which of those teams' quarterback situation would you rather have?
I think the only answer is Miami. I think I'd take Miami over Denver, but it's very close.
I'd rather have Bo Nix than have Tua.
From the biggest Anthony Richardson hater at the station, which is an odd sentence to say, you have them as in this category, uncertain. I think they're in the no. I think a guy who takes himself out of the game and has never had a winning season as a starter is a no. He had one moment at Florida, and we're going to put him in the same category as I think so. I would have him in no.
This is where I think how I feel about their quarterback and how they may feel maybe in a different range. I'm with you. I'm not a Anthony Richardson believer either, but they spent a top 5 pick on him, and he's now heading into year 3. I think you had to know that Anthony Richardson was a raw product when you drafted him. You couldn't have thought that he was ready-made. Just take Bo Nix. We're using him as the example. Bo Nix played, 40 college games as a starting quarterback? He started at Auburn. He started at Oregon. He played in bowl games. He played in championship games. Bo Nix played high-level college football for 4 years. Anthony Richardson played high-level college football for 9 months. So I think you had to know that it was going to be a little bit of a learning curve. If you're ready to pull the ripcord on 2 seasons on Anthony Richardson, I don't know why you drafted him in the beginning then. You weren't willing to go through the growing pains that we all knew he was going to have. He didn't have that level to develop in college, so that development is now happening now in the National Football League.
I just feel like maybe the they feel that way thing is also a little bit of a cop-out because Chris Ballard at his end-of-the-year press conference, he talked about, woof, boy, am I lucky to have a job. But after he talked about that, he said they're going to bring in competition for Anthony Richardson. So now actions speak louder than words. If they do not bring in a quarterback and they just roll out there with Richardson again, then whatever. But if he's saying at the end of the year postseason press conference, hey, we got to bring in some competition for Anthony Richardson because he struggles to stay healthy and this, that, and the other, man, that sounds like they're beginning to get out of the Anthony Richardson game, but it's an argument about the Colts, so who cares?
I got 5 teams in the nope category that it is time for them to start over at the quarterback position in the AFC. The Jets, Steelers, Browns, Titans, and Raiders. Those are my 5 teams in the it's time. You've tried the Band-Aid. You've tried the bridge quarterback. You've tried the old veteran quarterback. It's time to rip the Band-Aid off, and it's time to draft. It's time to start over. Jets, Steelers, Browns, Titans, and Raiders. Those are my 5 teams in the nope category.
That's the grouping. You know what sucks for the nope category? There ain't 5 suitable replacements out there for those guys.
There's maybe 2.
I was going to be nice and say 3. I mean, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Sam Darnold. Like, are you buying Kirk Cousins right now? Are you a believer in Aaron Rodgers right now? Like, Russell Wilson might be a free agent right now. Like the group is 3, and you have 5 in just the AFC. The other conference will also have people in this category if we did the NFC. That's hard times for those 5, but that is the correct grouping, I think.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, do you think that Sam Darnold could end up being a possibility for the Colts? Yeah, I'm sure that he could be a possibility, but I guess my point with the Colts is if you made the decision to draft someone as raw as Anthony Richardson was, I just don't know if you can be surprised that in his first couple of years it hasn't gone that great. Anthony Richardson played 1 year of major college football. He threw 2 passes his freshman year. He threw 64 passes his sophomore year, and he had 1 season as a starter in Florida. He threw 393 passes in his college football career. So we're just talking about a guy that just didn't have a whole lot of experience. Now, let's take a player like Bo Nix, for example. Bo Nix played a lot of college football, right? So I told you, Anthony Richardson threw 393 passes in college. Bo Nix threw 1,936. So Bo Nix, it's not a surprise to me that Bo Nix entered the NFL ready, because you played in the SEC, you played in the Pac-12, you threw 2,000 passes over your college football career. You just got more on-the-job training than what Anthony Richardson got. Your on-the-job training, if you're Richardson, it happened at the NFL level. Now, maybe the kid can't play. I don't think he's that good of a player. But you had to be willing to deal with the ups and downs if you were willing to jump out on the limb and play somebody who threw less than 4,000 or 400 passes in his entire college football career.
I feel like the college career thing is like it goes both ways, like a gift and a curse type deal, because a lot of people, like myself included, crushed Bo Nix for how much college he played and how old he is and how much development is still left. So if you play too much college, we rip you. If you play too little college, we rip you. But we now see the example on both sides. Like, Brandon Whedon's the extreme, but Brandon Whedon was in college for too long for us to believe in him.
Yeah, but now, though, and this could be changing. I know the Bo Nix played in a little bit of a different era. I don't know if in the NIL era that we can penalize these kids for staying 4 years in college. If you believe the Quinn Ewers argument, that Quinn Ewers was offered $6 million to go play college football next season for somebody, right? We don't know what team it was, but that's the report. He got offered $6 million. Bo Nix made $3.6 million this year to play quarterback for the Broncos. So if you're telling me, hey, I want to stay in college as long as I can, if I'm not going to be the number 1 overall pick or a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, and I'm Quinn Ewers and I think I'll be the second round pick guy, then I don't know why you're going to the NFL. Stay in college, keep developing, keep making big time money, and the NFL is going to be there. Sure, maybe you join the NFL at 22 years old, 23 years old. That's not the worst thing that can happen. I just think we're going to start to see more of those older quarterback prospects. The money is there to stay in college. And now with the transfer portal, a guy like Jaden Daniels, who started at Arizona State, he transferred to LSU. He's a little bit of an older product. You come to the NFL with a much higher ceiling than these guys who join at 21, 22 and just didn't play a whole lot of football.
If you're right, and I actually think there's a high likelihood you are. We're going to see more guys be, redshirt juniors and seniors coming into the NFL. Like Cam Ward would fall in this category too. He played for 3 schools when he was in college, so he was there for a while. I mean, I think Shador might fall in this category too. I don't know his age offhand. He was a multiple school guy. Then I think you will see more and more Bo Nix and less Anthony Richardson. Why would a team ever draft a developmental quarterback in the first round? A guy that, hey, he's toolsy, he hasn't played much football, and let's see. That guy should almost never get drafted anymore, because the benefit is stay in college, start somewhere, keep playing. Like, Cam Ward could have left after his time at Washington State. He'd been a 3rd-round pick, but now he's going to be, number 1 overall? So you're right. I think I will end up looking wrong when I make fun of Bo Nix for his age, because that's going to be the new wave. But it also is going to show that Anthony Richardson types are not getting drafted anymore. Because why am I going to develop him when you can go transfer to Michigan State and get developed there for a year and it's just as quality as the NFL?
Yeah, I think the reward is probably going to keep teams mentally invested in that. Like, I hear what you're saying about Richardson, but I mean, you're talking you're 6'4", you're 230, and you run a 4.3 40 at quarterback. Man, somebody's just going to take a chance, and they're going to bet that they can
maybe
coach
not the
you
top
up
5
and
anymore,
get you,
though.
Yeah, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But you and I both know the NFL. This is the same NFL where quarterbacks are just so precious, and if there is a quarterback prospect that is right there, that is flashing right before you, I mean, we've seen this kind of happen before. Teams just fall in love with physical traits. How did Zach Wilson go top 3 overall? How did Anthony Richardson go top overall? Trey Lance, who sat out his final year of college football, got drafted really high. There are just certain physical traits that you can have at quarterback, and if you can impress the one team, that's all it takes to drum up that interest and go ahead and get you a big-time offer. I am a little bit surprised, though, that Quinn Ewers made the decision to declare for the NFL draft. If they paying like that for you to stay in college, man, I'd stay in college as long as they would let me. Man, I would be Will Ferrell in old school if they would keep letting me stay in school. I'd be Perry Ellis if that's how they paying for you to continue to play college football and be a quarterback. All right. I asked Rob to do an exercise for us, and I'm really excited about this exercise. I asked Rob to make his least favorite KU starting five of all time. And I did this because I wanted to see if he had Hunter Dickinson started on this team. I've been around Rob for a long time. I know how Rob thinks. Rob is starting to get to the point that he is ready to remove Hunter Dickinson from his circle of trust. So I'm going to ask Rob to make his, you know how you have all-stars? These are the anti-stars. These are the opposite stars. I want Rob to make his starting five of his least favorite KU players to see if Hunter Dickinson makes the team. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5. The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. Get the savings you want on America's largest 5G network. Visit T-Mobile.com/choice55 and start saving today.
Casey's has 8 new coffee roasts that have been described as having rich aromatics that entice any palate. But, we're not sure what that means, so we just call it darn good coffee. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. Get a free any-size coffee with Casey's Rewards. See Casey's Rewards for details.
The action is heating up this playoff season at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Lock in your touchdown picks, check out trending parlays, and increase your winnings with profit boosts. New customers can get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win, and unlock 30 days of ESPN Plus. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with promo code RADIO to get started today. Must be 21 and older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Hollywood Casino at Kansas Speedway. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Has a loved one died and left you an old car to sell? GiveMeTheVin.com has just launched the new service GMTVCC.com. Write this down, GMTVCC.com, which is Give Me the VIN classic and collector car buying service. GMTVCC.com will hook you up with GMTVCC Pro buyers that will appraise and offer on that 69 Chevelle, old Corvette, old truck, and especially Restamods. We love Restamods at GMTVCC.com. Don't mess with consignments or auctions. Get paid today on your classic or collector car at GMTVCC.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Are you looking for a new job where you can have tons of fun and make great money? Twin Peaks is the team for you. We're looking for Twin Peaks girls, cooks, bussers, barbacks, and more. Text WORK, the number 4, TP to 85000 to apply today.
Hey, it's Karen with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Ready to replace that roof? We have flexible financing options, 12 months same as cash, and don't make a payment for 90 days. And that's just one of many options we offer. Get on the schedule now with our in-house Consumer Credit Center. One call does it all for flexible payment options, affordability, and peace of mind. Visit shamrockroofer.com. That's shamrockroofer.com or call 1-866-932-3545 today.
Buying and selling a home is stressful. You want the best team on your side, and that's my friend Dawn Sharp and the Sharp Homes team, brokered by Epic Realty. To find the current value of your home, go to homesforsaleandkc.com. Click on the button, How Much is Your Home Really Worth? Then the Sharp Homes team can give you options. If you want to skip the showings and open houses, you can do that with their instant offer program. Contact the only agent I would trust if I needed to sell my home. It's Dawn Sharp. Google Sharp Homes team or visit them at homesforsaleandkc.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Jake from State Farm. I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new tropical room spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Divisional round coverage of the Chiefs and Texans on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of your Kansas City Chiefs. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Multi-car crash closing 2 left lanes of southbound 435 just before Gregory. And another 2-car crash northbound lanes of 69 Highway right at 151st Street. This is closing out that left lane. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Kane is in the building.
Welcome to your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan.
I love these kind of segments because I can sit back and I can let Rob do all the work. We'll get back to the Chiefs coming up in just a bit. If you guys will indulge me for just a bit. KU got the beats yesterday. I can't remember too many times watching KU in the Big 12 where I didn't think they had a chance really at any point to watch the game. So the game tipped off at 6. By the time I got home, it was like 12 minutes left in the first half. They were down the entire time that I watched the game, and they got a hot and ready, crispy 20-piece nugget dropped on their head. Rob, I can feel his animosity towards Hunter Dickinson growing. I can feel it. It's palpable. So I came in today and I told Rob, I only need you to do one thing. I want you to make your Bill Self anti-stars list. Not your all-stars. Your anti-stars. So I would tell Rob, hey, give me your all-time Bill Self starting 5. You know, you'd have Sharon Collins and Frank Mason and Thomas Robinson. That's not the team I want you to make. I want you to make the opposite. I want you to make your 5 least favorite players under Bill Self, and I want to see if Hunter Dickinson makes the team. I have not seen this list. We are going to figure this out together and learn in real time. Rob, take it away.
I'll also get the drama right off the bat. Hunter Dickinson's on the team. I'm probably the last holdout with Hunter Dickinson because he was averaging 18 and 10. It's hard to hate a guy who all he does is just keep scoring and scoring and scoring. But Ron pointed out the play earlier when Ron was on the show, and our friend Mike Vernon pointed out on Twitter, and when it happened, I felt like me and Ron and everyone, we had that Leonardo DiCaprio meme. We all pointed to, what's that? The game was down to 5 points, Carrington. 5 points is a basketball game. They miss a free throw, they being Iowa State, and Hunter Dickinson gets tipped, and if you just dive on the floor or sprint or reach out or do anything, you secure the rebound, KU has the ball, who knows what happens when they still lose, whatever.
They don't pay me to dive on the floor if I'm Hunter Dickinson.
Not only did he not dive on the floor, he didn't acquire the ball, tip the ball to a teammate. Iowa State got it, kicked it out, hit a long 3, Bill Self timeout, game was over. It was over in that moment. It was like 6:49 to go, it was over. And if he had just not loafed around, maybe KU gets the ball back and we'll just see what happens. But no, he was watching the game like I was with popcorn, and the ball went away. He's on the team.
All right, we got Hunter Dickinson at center right now on the Bill Self anti-stars. All right, let's go down the line. Let's start at point guard. Who has been your least favorite point guard during the Bill Self era?
So I'm going to cheat a little bit.
Oh, here you go.
Nick Timberlake's the answer. I know he was the shooter last year, but good Lord, my man can't shoot. And he thinks he can. And I'm sure he was great at Towson or wherever he transferred in from. Super duper. I don't care. You can't score. And he was supposed to be a focal point of the Kansas offense. I don't know that they had gotten off the plane from Salt Lake last year to losing to Gonzaga before he announced, yo, I'm transferring. Good riddance. Goodbye, Nick Timberlake. I felt like I was sold a bill of goods on Nick Timberlake. He's on the team.
You cheated Tharp. I can't believe Nadir Tharp.
I have combo guards. Nadir Tharp is next.
Oh, he's coming up on the team.
Don't worry. Nadir Tharp is on this roster.
Okay.
I was getting Nick Timberlake off the list first because he was my transfer. Why are you here? Why? Why do you exist?
Okay.
Nadir Tharp's next. Nadir Tharp is, listen, the off-the-court moment with the nurse from Gardner or wherever she lived, that's bad. The actual basketball was also bad. He was supposed to be the next. Remember, for a while there, Bill Self couldn't miss at point guard. He brought in 3-star, boom, kid became a dude. And he missed bad on Nadir Tharp. He then hit back-to-back with Graham and Mason. But Nadir Tharp thought he was Frank Mason, and he was just, he did nothing. Just a zero for the team.
He was knocking down threes on and off the court.
I mean, that one was like 26. I still don't understand what she was doing at the Hawk on a Wednesday, but that's not the biggest conversation with that story. It's a moment we're all thinking. Can you imagine if you're like, hey, I'm leaving CERN and I'm going to head to the Hawk tonight? What's wrong with you? Get a life.
You got Nick Timberlake, and you got...
I'm not heading out I'm heading to ladies' night. It's dollar night in Lawrence. I'm going to drive. Good Lord.
I know there's one player that needs to be on this team. Let's see if you would put him on your team. All right, who do you have playing small forward right now?
Kevin McCullough.
Who?
Kevin McCullough. There's a theme here. It's transfers who I was told would be good, and they're not good. Kevin McCullough, he was an okay player his first year. He tested the NBA draft waters, found out, you ain't going to go to the NBA. He came back, and then the minute the NBA was like, hey, you're actually looking pretty good, he had back spasms. He had soreness. He had the same soreness you have when your buddy's like, hey, I need someone to help me move this weekend. Oh, I got a shoulder. It's not quite right. I got a little tweak in my back. I can't help. And he quit on the team. Bill Self said he quit on the team, basically, and then he had to walk back those it was just, no. Kevin McCullough, no.
He did have the same injury. That was the plot for like every 90s sitcom. Every 90s sitcom, a main character had a back issue, and that was the theme of the show. Kevin McCullough, I can't believe Brandon Green did not get that spot.
We're only at 4. Brandon Green is playing my power forward.
Oh.
I'm playing 4 round 1 at Kansas. We're playing 4 round 1 like it's 2019 Bill Self. Because Brandon Green was never... Actually, Brandon Green could shoot.
I'm so tickled by this.
Brandon Green could shoot. I will always credit him. He could actually shoot. He couldn't defend. He couldn't stay out of trouble. And it seems like he was encouraged to transfer because I don't even know where he went before he just disappeared to the ether. Brandon Green is just... He was 6'7" and could shoot, but he couldn't find his way on... It just... Yeah. Ugh. I hate him less than some of the transfers because it wasn't like you were sold a bill of goods, but Brandon Green would check in. You know you're playing 4-on-5 defensively, and you know if he's touching the ball, it's going up. If there was leather on the ball, he's shooting it.
Can you go through your team one more time for people that are just chiming in? I asked Rob to make a list of his Bill Self anti-heroes. I asked him to make a starting 5 of his 5 least favorite players to play at KU under Bill Self. Give him your 5 again.
Well, I have a 6th man. It's KJ Lawson. KJ Lawson was just the throw-in to a transfer to get Dedrick Lawson on campus. He was like the, added bonus, and he thought for some reason he could hoop at the same level his brother could. And then he left immediately. He's like, I have a chance to go to the league. No, you don't. You stink. You're my 6th man. My starting 5, Nadir Tharp, Nick Timberlake, Brandon Green, Kevin McCullough, Hunter Dickinson. Hunter Dickinson, a new addition. I was holding out for Hunter. I was wrong. The lack of hustle and heart last night was just that. We've talked a lot about Hunter Dickinson on this show, and you said last year, you asked this question, does he feel like a Jayhawk? And a lot of people in text line said no. And I figured out why. It's more than just the transfer thing, the NIL thing, the money thing. You know what KU, like Jayhawks at their core are? They're guys who are going to do the Bill Self stuff. They are not going to watch a loose ball plinko around and then jog up and down the floor, and then his post-game comments just, I had to turn my phone off. He in post-game, they asked him about, what went wrong. He goes, yeah, I got to be better. And I'm like, good answer. Offensively, no. Rebound. Hustle. Show a little oomph. No one's asking you, if your big takeaway from last night, Hunter, was, well, I didn't score 20, so I wasn't good enough. No. You didn't need to score 20 last night. You needed to not turn the ball over and rebound. You needed to be Mitch Lightfoot last night, and you couldn't do that.
This was such a great exercise. I enjoyed it. I'm sure some of you are listening right now wished we talked Chiefs and Texans. We will coming up. I enjoyed it. If I'm the only one that enjoyed it, you know what? It was worth it to me. Timberlake, Tharp, Kevin McCullough, Brandon Green, Hunter Dickinson, and KJ Lawson rounds out his 6 man. If you guys would like to chime in and give us your Bill Self anti-stars, I'm happy to hear it. 913-586-7965. Rob, thanks so much for participating in the show today. I appreciate all your hard work and everything that you do for this show. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll get back to football. We'll get back to Chiefs and Texans. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Multi-car crash closing 2 left lanes of southbound 435 just before Gregory. And another 2-car crash northbound lanes of 69 Highway right at 151st Street. This is closing out that left lane. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
It's playoff time, and if you're going to the game or watching at home, you need your game day catered by Smokehouse Barbecue. Their game day special will take care of everyone. It's a pound of wings, a slab of ribs, a pound of burnt ends, and a quart of beans and setups for $6 for $79.95. Visit Smokehouse Barbecue at one of their 3 locations in Gladstone, Zona Rosa, or Independence, and do all of your ordering at smokehousebbq.com. For over 35 years, locally owned and family operated, it's Smokehouse Barbecue.
If you're hearing this, you're in Chiefs Kingdom, the land of champions. And what do champions do? They win. Play the world champions Kansas City Chiefs instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery for a chance to win up to $75,000. Or enter your tickets into the Play On app for a chance to win one-of-a-kind Chiefs experiences. Because the only thing better than winning is winning again. See KSLottery.com for details.
Damon John here, the People Shark. I want to share a secret that's changing people's lives. There is a company called National Debt Relief that can help you get out of debt faster than you ever thought possible, like 12 to 48 months from now. With National Debt Relief, you can cut your minimum credit card payments by 50% and pay as little as $250 a month. Imagine, instead of paying multiple high interest payments every month, you can make one low monthly program payment, plus you can get approved in just a few minutes. They've helped hundreds of thousands of people just like you. Trust me when I tell you, National Debt Relief's got your back and can help you get back on track.
To learn how you can reduce your credit card debt and become debt-free, call 800-358-4422. 800-358-4422. Again, that's 800-358-4422.
Don't wait. Apply today.
At Shane Company, we make finding your perfect engagement ring fun and easy. Because let's be honest, you might feel a little stressed out. We get it. That's why we do all the hard stuff. It's our job to bring you the biggest selection of beautiful diamonds and colorful gemstones, so many amazing settings, and all the customization your heart desires. We've got your style and your price range covered, and we're here to guide you every step of the way. Come in for a warm welcome and leave with your dream ring and an experience you'll never forget. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899.
800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
You're listening to the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your home for Kansas City sports. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Welcome back into The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 965thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll play our conversation with Danny Parkins of FS1 and The Breakfast Ball. Danny recently had a billboard in Times Square. So on his show, he gives NFL picks. He went up against Nick Wright, also friend of the show, and Danny won. So Fox Sports put a billboard up in Town Center with Danny Parkins as the Picks King. We'll talk to him about that coming up in just a little bit. Now, for those of you that like to gamble a little bit on these games and you go to FanDuel or DraftKings or wherever you get your line from, if you go on FanDuel and you click on the game and you also go over to player props and you go to receiving props, this is how they have it narrowed down for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have Travis Kelce's over-under on 51.5 yards. They have Xavier Worthy's over-under at 51.5 yards. DeAndre Hopkins is at 31.5 yards. Hollywood Brown is at 41.5 yards. Man, the Hollywood Brown line is perfect. Exactly where I think it should be. Rob, let me ask you this about Travis Kelce, because I know that I've been labeled as a Travis Kelce hater. I'm not, but whatever. If that's the badge that I got to wear, fine. Last year, you would have needed Travis Kelce to hit that over. You would have needed Travis Kelce to have a 6-catch for 75 yards and a touchdown game if you were going to advance in the postseason. I don't think they need that right now. Like, I'm looking at some of these other player props that are out there, and I think there's better value out there. Look at the way that Xavier Worthy has played the last month or so, and it might sound crazy. And I know that I am only taking the regular season and not the postseason into account. Man, Xavier Worthy, to me, would be a more reliable over if I'm going to throw a little bit of cash to because of his usage and how it has been trending upwards. It feels a lot like how Rashee Rice's usage was last year. You remember, there was a clear break in Rice's usage, and once he kind of figured out the offense, he was a focal point of their offense, and they really started to use him. You can see a lot of those same similarities with Xavier Worthy. I love the DeAndre Hopkins over. Former team, well-rested. He's never made the AFC Championship game. The usage has been a lot lower the last couple of weeks because they're trying to make sure that he hits that snaps threshold. At this point, it's pedal to the metal. It's full speed. We're going to go hard these next 2 weeks. We'll get a bye as we prepare for the Super Bowl, and then we only have one game left. So I think the big wrinkle for the Chiefs offense is actually going to be, it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins. He hasn't been on the field for more than 60% of the snaps in 2 months. There's no reason to limit his usage now. I think we could see D-Hop on the field for 70, 80% of the snaps, and he can be pretty much a fixture in the offense. So I really like the DeAndre Hopkins over of 31.5 yards. I also would play the Xavier Worthy over of 51.5 yards. I would stay away from Hollywood Brown. I feel like the Travis Kelce over is more of a legacy play than anything, and I don't mean that as a slight. I just don't know if the Chiefs need Travis Kelce to really ball out. They might at some point in this postseason, next week against Buffalo or Baltimore, you're going to have all hands on deck. But I think they can continue to slow play this thing for one more week with Travis Kelce where you don't need him to have that monster game that you've grown accustomed to in the postseason.
So first off, we see the Hopkins thing very similar. Little peek behind the curtain. You know, we do our best bets over on Instagram for 96.5 The Fan, and I was doing mine. I said it feels like an obvious over for DeAndre Hopkins. Not only everything you said, it's full pedal to the metal. You're telling me DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have any extra juice for playing his former team? I mean, you're telling me that, I mean, I know it's not Bill O'Brien's regime anymore, but you're telling me there's not a little extra zest and a little extra something for him playing this game? So that seems like an obvious over. The Kelce one to me is fascinating because I do think it's somewhat legacy driven, but I also think there's some logic in it. Carrington, we talked about this earlier in the week. Last year, no one benefited more from the rest than Travis Kelce. He looked mortal at the end of last season. There were some Chiefs fans I know who wanted to push him out there for the Charger game, get your 1,000 yards, have your moment, but then, we'll take you out of the game. We'll see you in the postseason there. He rested, and then he became Superman in the postseason. He's now going to have 2 weeks of rest. There is no reason to believe there is any ache, pain, nagging, whatever with Travis Kelce. He is going to be as rested as you can be going into the postseason. Now, maybe the media tour he's on is going to tucker him out, but I doubt that. 51.5 for a guy who basically is a lock in the postseason for 70 yards on 2 weeks of rest, who leads the Chiefs in targets. Yeah, it's somewhat legacy driven, but there is a logic to why I think you could take the Travis Kelce over. He's rested and he leads the team in targets. That could be the play. They don't need him to be that guy, but I think that guy could exist on Saturday.
Two things here. So DeAndre Hopkins has played 10 games for the Kansas City Chiefs. It doesn't feel like he's been there that long, but he's been there that long. In 7 of his 10 games, he would have hit the over based on what it is for this game coming up against the Houston Texans. So I actually really like the DeAndre Hopkins over of 31.5. I would grab the number right now before it goes up. If you're into that sort of thing, grab the over on DeAndre Hopkins. This is my question to you about Kelce, though. We got Danny coming up in just a bit. If you had to go down the list right now of options of where Travis Kelce is in the passing game, where would you put him? Because last year, it was either 1A, 1B with Rashee Rice, or you had him as the 1, right? Heading into the postseason, you had a rookie on the other side, and everybody knew that Kelce was their number 1 passing option. Do you feel like that now heading into the postseason? Because he was in the regular season. He had far more targets than everybody else. But now that you've got an experienced guy with D-Hop, you've got Hollywood Brown, you have Xavier Worthy, who is playing at a very, very high level right now. I'm not really sure where Kelce, I think, ranks in that regards for the amount of targets and opportunity he's going to get. You got to think last year when they were in the postseason, they were throwing it to Kelce a lot because they kind of had to. He had to get 8 to 12 targets a game. I don't know if they need to use him that much, and he needs to get that volume because you have so many other reliable weapons. Last year, the Chiefs had 3 offensive weapons that they trusted. They had Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, and Rashee Rice. As you head into this game against Houston, they have what, 6? You trust Watson, you trust Worthy, you trust Juju Smith-Schuster, you trust D-Hop, you trust Hollywood Brown, you trust Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Kelce, Noah Gray. It may be like 8. So they are just in a much different spot heading into there where I don't know if you need to force feed any one option heading into this game. I think this is going to be a packed game where the ball just gets dispersed around. Kelce gets to eat a little bit. Worthy gets to eat a little bit. Hollywood Brown gets to eat a little bit. I think we're going to see really the full vision of what they thought their offense could be at the very beginning of the year. You didn't have Rashee Rice, but now you got somebody in DeAndre Hopkins who can take that role and can maybe do it at a slightly higher level. Certainly a guy that knows the playbook now at this point, is a great route runner with very reliable hands. I think we're going to get a chance to see all of the conversations that we had in July and August about this offense. I think we finally get to see it on Saturday against the Texans.
So here's the thing. I understand what you're saying from a logic standpoint, but I think Travis Kelce is still 1-1 on this offense. And I was looking this up while you were talking. Travis Kelce led all pass catchers in snaps this year, Carrington. I know there was this notion that they were, easing him back into the offense, not back into the offense, but they're easing him because of his age or he was out there as a decoy. Those notions are incorrect. The only players that played more snaps than Travis Kelce are Patrick Mahomes, Creed Humphrey, Joe Tooney, Trey Smith, and Jawan Taylor. The guys who are out there for every single play. He played 82% of the snaps. So he's number 1 based on snaps. He also led the Chiefs in targets. He had 133 targets this year, Carrington. That is a number 1 focal point of the offense guy. So I hear what you're saying, and logically I get it. I don't think they wanted back in August Kelce to be those 2 stats. but he is. And you've been saying all week, dance with who brought you with Joe Tooney. You know who brought you here?
Travis Kelce.
Despite being down, Travis Kelce. He's playing the most snaps, and he's getting the most targets. So while I think his production has diminished, and even the most Travis Kelce lover will tell you, yeah, the production has diminished, I think he is number one in this offense because he plays the most snaps and he gets targeted the most by Patrick Mahomes.
I want to play this audio clip for you guys. This was Dan Orlowski. He was on Get Up earlier today. Here's what he said about Travis Kelce.
Kelce's more than capable of being the difference maker. I think he's got one great run left. I think if he goes and has that vintage Kelce performance, which I fully, one, think he's capable of, and two, will do, and they go on and three-peat, I think retirement becomes a very real thing for Travis Kelce. There'd be nothing else to accomplish. He'd be arguably the greatest tight end of all time. He would be the tight end that was part of the only three-peat in the history of the NFL. He's obviously later in his career. I don't think there'd be anything left, and I think that he's got one elite, great difference maker, vintage, oh my gosh, he did it again, run left in him.
I think if you look at the contract, I think that Kelce's going to play next season. There's too much guaranteed money. And when you renegotiate the deal the way that the Chiefs did with Kelce prior to the start of the season, I think you went into it knowing that these were the final 2 years. So my stance is going to be, regardless of what happens this postseason, I guess an injury could happen, knock on wood, but I think that Travis Kelce is coming back next year and is going to play at least one more season with the Kansas City Chiefs. I still think he's a productive player in the league. He's not what he was 2-3 years ago, but he's still certainly a productive tight end in the league. I think next year they'll continue to stockpile the wide receiver room. You'll get Rashee Rice back. I think they'll either bring back DeAndre Hopkins or Hollywood Brown, potentially both of those guys, and you can continue to decrease the workload for Travis Kelce for next year and kind of have him be more of a, I don't know if secondary player is the correct term, but this was certainly, we saw a different Noah Gray this year, and as he heads into the prime of his career, it makes sense to me why you would use Noah Gray a little bit more and use Travis Kelce a little bit less in the postseason. There's a lot of money tied up into coming back next year. I think that Travis Kelce is going to play next season for the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming up on the other side, we're going to head to the phone lines and be joined by Danny Parkins of Fox Sports 1. We'll get his thoughts on the divisional round matchup between the Chiefs and the Texans, and also Ravens and Bills. That's coming up. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
It's just not normal. The pain calls from chronic joint pain day after day. But some of you have dealt with that pain for so long, it's become your new normal. Short-term fixes are not working. Make the decision now to say no, not going to live with it. Get moving again in 2025 with help from QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, joint preservation. Yes, you can revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery. This is the future of medicine using an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis. Tens of thousands of people with pain have discovered these cellular treatments and they're living life again without that constant pain in their joints. Want to learn more about how you can refresh your joints, get lasting relief with these amazing treatments? Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. 816-412-6299. QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299.
Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? You bet we are. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on some something simple, like a player to score 6? Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 965. That's code 965 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over, Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort.
Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
It's playoffs time, KC. Rally House has the Chiefs gear you're looking for, including Chiefs official postseason gear and the latest styles fit for the kingdom.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State, Chiefs and Royals make KC great. Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's the Rally House.
Gear up in-store and online at rallyhouse.com.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by the Missouri Air National Guard. Serve your community your way. Serve your country and build a brighter future with the Missouri Air National Guard. Top-notch training, tuition assistance, and bonuses up to $50,000. Missouri Air National Guard St. Joseph. Aim high. Find your path today. Go to ang.com/MO.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
2-car crash with the right lane closed of westbound 435 in the Metro South Side just before Metcalf. Traffic is heavy behind it, and the left lane closed for a collision involving multiple vehicles southbound 435. That's just before Gregory. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Hollywood Brown. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Coming up in a bit, we're going to be joined by Danny Parkins. Let me give you the final injury report for Saturday afternoon. McCole Hardman was a limited participant. He has been a limited participant all week. His status is doubtful for Sunday. Andy Reid kind of confirmed that earlier today. Everybody else was a full participant in practice today. Jalen Watson, his injury designation is questionable, so it's only going to be 2 players that are in question. McCole Hardman is doubtful. I actually think McCole's going to be inactive for Saturday's game, and Jalen Watson, who I think is going to play. I don't know if he's going to play his usual amount of snaps on Saturday, but I do think that Jalen Watson is going to play. If you are looking at Houston, they had Shaq Mason. He was a full participant. Juice Scruggs was also a full participant. So those are 2 starting offensive linemen. They don't have an injury designation. They're going to play. Azeez Al-Shazar, you guys might remember him, the linebacker. He was the one that hit Trevor Lawrence that got the suspension. He didn't practice on Tuesday, was a limited participant for Wednesday and Thursday. He is questionable for the game. Robert Woods did not practice at all this week. He is questionable. That could be a situation where they're keeping a veteran receiver out, a guy who certainly has a track record of playing, but he didn't practice this week and is questionable. Just want to pass that to you. Everybody else was a full participant in practice today, except Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon didn't practice on Tuesday, was a limited participant yesterday in practice, and was a DNP today. He's listed as questionable. I'm going to guess that they're holding Joe Mixon out of practice. Is that kind of how you read this? I haven't really seen any reason to think that Mixon is not going to play on Saturday. So he is a little bit banged up, certainly understandable at this point of the season with the amount of carries that he's had. I feel like if Mixon wasn't going to play, he'd be listed as doubtful and not questionable. I think they're kind of trying to preserve his body a little bit and hold him out of practice. I do expect Joe Mixon to play.
Yeah, the big one for me is Al-Shazir. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize.
Yeah.
The guy who got suspended for hitting Trevor Lawrence, because their defense, and I believe it was Sean Pendergast on this show, said their defense is he's vital to what they do defensively because he basically runs the defense. And a guy that did not play in the first match but that could have an impact on this matchup being a question mark is good news for the Chiefs. But that, as big as the injury or whatever is going on with Mixon is, I actually think Al-Shazir is the biggest one on that list.
So let's go to the phone lines right now to be joined by Danny Parkins of FS1. He is also the host of Breakfast Ball. He is a rising television star. He had a billboard in Times Square. No matter what he does in his life and his career, he is not known as Danny Parkins on this show. Park, what's good?
Good afternoon, C-Dot. Absolutely. You think that a Times Square billboard is going to stop me from coming on and talking to Kansas City during the playoffs? Get the hell out of here. How are you, man?
I'm in the middle of watching Entourage right now.
You've never seen Entourage?
I never saw a second of Entourage until like 4 days ago.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, listen, Entourage ages very poorly. There's a lot of things that you cannot say today that they say in Entourage. Easy, quick watch. So 4 days ago, with how little you have to do in your personal life, I'm guessing you're already well into season 2. You're probably banging out 6 episodes at a time, I would imagine.
Well, you want to know what? I had a lot of free time because the NFL was so miserable this past weekend. I didn't have to watch football from start to finish at all for many of these games that we just had.
Yeah, I tend to not turn off NFL playoff games, but I understand if you want to watch a television show that was relevant 15 plus years ago instead of one of the 13 playoff games that we get start to finish. I suppose that's a choice for a sports radio host.
It absolutely is a choice. You know what I have no interest in? I have no interest in watching Russell Wilson play quarterback anymore. I don't care next season, this season. I was done watching Russell Wilson for 2025.
That is fair. I was done watching him before the season even started. But, he still was playing Baltimore, who was playing Buffalo this weekend in a relatively big game.
Let's get to Bills and Ravens. To me, this game comes down to trust. I think the Ravens have the better roster out of the two. I don't trust Lamar Jackson in postseason games. In the regular season, he is Superman. In the postseason, he is Clark Kent. I trust Josh Allen a little bit more in this spot, and I think he's going to be able to overcome the fact that, he doesn't have a Hall of Fame running back. He maybe doesn't have some of the other weapons. I like Buffalo to take care of business at home this weekend.
Yeah, so you and I are on the same page. That's a little I'm surprised Baltimore is an outright favorite in the game, but Baltimore does have a better roster. They are playing the best football of anyone in the NFL right now. Their defense has actually been the best defense in football since Week 11, which is remarkable. It'll be very, very cold. It could be windy. So, you got to be able to run the ball. But the Bills can run the ball a lot, too. And so here's the thing with Lamar. Lamar's playoff numbers are not good. They are much worse than they were in the regular season. But he was good against Pittsburgh. He was good last year against Houston. He just hasn't been good in the games where they're coin flips or they're not supposed to win. Well, this game obviously qualifies as a coin flip. So I trust Josh Allen, too, because even in games where he's lost, obviously most famously the 13-second game against the Chiefs, almost exclusively he has been great in the postseason. But I feel like we could have a different opinion on that midway through the second quarter. Like if Lamar comes out and after one quarter he's got 2 drives, 2 touchdowns, and 100 yards of offense generated, and he's slinging the ball, I don't think we're going to be like, well, he really didn't look good in the AFC Championship game last year against Kansas City, so now all of a sudden that's relevant. So I'm with you on how that – I think that's a totally fair way to handicap it going in, but I do think Lamar can erase that pretty quickly in the game.
I don't know if I trust Baltimore to stick to their game plan. I feel like when they've gotten trouble in the postseason, and you referenced the AFC Championship game, it was because they went away from who they are. They called 8 run plays in the AFC Championship game last year against Kansas City. I think the formula that they had in the first half against Pittsburgh is how you win the game. It is Lamar. It is Derrick Henry. It is keeping pass attempts down for the Ravens. If Baltimore can maintain that formula, then I think they can go on the road and win. But if this is a game that Lamar Jackson's going to throw 35 times and run it 9 times, that's a game that I think Buffalo has the advantage.
Yeah, it was a crazy game plan against Kansas City. It was the talk of their offseason. And then this year they were a historic team in terms of running the ball when you consider running back and quarterback combined rushing yards, literally the best offense we've ever seen. And then they were really good against Pittsburgh, as you mentioned, and the weather dictates that it's a run-the-ball game, and they ran all over Buffalo when they played them back in Week 4, and Buffalo was very good against the run. Like I see no scenario where this is a game where at the end of it we're like, Baltimore abandoned the run. Like I honestly don't think it's possible. Bernard and Milano are back for Buffalo. They weren't there in that Week 4 game. Like I do think that helps Buffalo's defense a bit, but they're just not built to stop the run. So I'm trying to think about what it would take. Ravens fumble the opening kickoff of the game like the Packers did last week against the Eagles. Buffalo scores. Then Baltimore, throws a pick 6. They're down 14-0 early. I think it would take a very fluky start to the game and Baltimore being down double digits or 2 scores or 3 scores almost immediately for that to even be a remote possibility. I know everyone's talking about it. I know the AFC Championship game sticks in people's minds. It should. It was egregious. But I don't think there's a world where they don't run the ball successfully in this game on Sunday.
Right now, we're talking to Danny Parkins of FS1. It's funny because we started our conversation talking about character arcs in a TV show. I mean, if the NFL was a TV show, Mahomes has established himself as Tom Brady. I still think that we're trying to figure out who the Peyton Manning is. Peyton Manning actually lost his first 6 starts against Tom Brady, and eventually on the 7th one, he went to the Super Bowl. I do feel like there are 3 overarching storylines in the postseason. It's 1, can Kansas City reach history and win 3 straight? It's who in the AFC can potentially knock them off, and I think everybody is kind of cheering for the Lions and hoping they get to the Super Bowl. I think from a legacy standpoint, I think that Allen and Lamar are somewhat on equal footing. Maybe Lamar's a little bit ahead of them because of the MVPs, but this would be a really big dragon to slay if either Buffalo or Baltimore, they're the team that stops Kansas City from going to 3 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, they are the 2 people individually who have the most to gain, Allen and Lamar, in terms of legacy. And I would say Lamar even more so, because Lamar, as you mentioned, has the 2 MVPs. He might have 3. I did this on Breakfast Ball on Tuesday or Wednesday's show. Like, the list of quarterbacks in the last 40 years who have won an MVP but not a Super Bowl, it's Lamar, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton. It's like, good football players, but, Rich Gannon, but not Hall of Famers. And Lamar is the only multiple-time MVP in the last 40 years to not be in a Super Bowl. But if you are a multiple-time MVP with a Super Bowl, it's the Mount Rushmore of the NFL, and then some. It's Rodgers and Unitas and Steve Young and Favre and obviously Brady and obviously Mahomes and obviously Manning. Like, if Lamar adds Super Bowl champion to his resume, you get to start talking about him as like top 10 quarterback all time in terms of accomplishments and what he's pacing on, and then obviously the rushing stuff on top of it. Like, it puts him in truly rarefied air. If he doesn't, and he's on that really short list of guys with 3 MVPs, Favre, Jim Brown, Tom Brady, but he has no rings, you'll talk about him like Dan Marino or Charles Barkley. All-time greats, but never got it done in the postseason. Was he not built for the postseason? So Josh Allen clearly needs an MVP at some point. He clearly needs a ring at some point, and I think eventually he will get both. And by the way, maybe this year he still could win MVP and could win a Super Bowl. But Lamar, because he hasn't played well in the postseason, if he bows out again, that narrative's really going to ratchet up. And then if he does play well, slays that dragon and gets a ring, all of a sudden I think it goes completely the other direction, and people will look at his trophy case, his numbers, his accomplishments, and be like, oh my God, what are we watching here? How historic is this pace for a guy who's still in his late 20s?
At least the way it appears on social media is that the Chiefs have now turned villain. Early on in this journey, they were the underdog team that everybody wanted to see knock off the New England Patriots, but now they've become the Patriots. Do you think that America wants to see history happen? The Chiefs are on the verge of doing something that no football team in major history has ever done, whether it's pro or college. We've never seen 3 straight Super Bowls. We've never seen 3 straight national championships in college. Do you think America wants to see the Chiefs accomplish this?
I don't think it's a monolith. I don't think that it's on my show, Carton's certainly a Chiefs hater. Stink is a former Bronco, certainly roots against the Chiefs. I obviously, with my professional and familial ties to Kansas City, root for the Chiefs, and I'm rooting for it. But I think it depends, man. Like, I think if it's Chiefs-Lions, everyone is going to root for the Lions outside of Kansas City. Crazy likable. If it's Chiefs-Eagles, I think there will be some more people that don't have a rooting interest that's like, I don't really like Philadelphia sports fans. 3-peat would be cool. I want to watch history, and I've seen the Super Bowl before, so may as well root for history. So then I think some, middle-of-the-road people would maybe lean towards the Chiefs. If it's Chiefs-Rams, McVay, Stafford, they have one already. Not a big fan base, not a lot of ties to it. I would guess that more casuals would break Kansas City's way. If it was somehow Chiefs and Commanders, then, I got to imagine more people break to the Chiefs just in terms of familiarity. So I think that it's going in the direction of the Patriots where people were rooting against them. But I also think it's silly. I think the social media stuff is not a real reflection of how real people feel. Like, I don't believe that the average person thinks that the refs are in the bag for Kansas City, more so than people thought that Michael Jordan or LeBron got all the calls because they're superstars. Like, social media is just a terrible reflection of how the masses actually think about something. So I do not yet believe that the Chiefs are hated by the average sports fan. I don't think we're close to that yet. And by the way, the metrics suggest that what they are is they're the new Cowboys. Like, they cannot have us talk Chiefs enough. Like, the network executives are thrilled when we have multiple Chiefs topics in a show, because even if it is negative, people have a very strong opinion of the Chiefs. Like, the Chiefs are America's team is a corny thing to say, and that was branded as Dallas, but the team that the most people have the most opinions about is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Danny, you don't see the humor in, I would say that one of your strongest takes over the last 7-8 years or so has been you have been anti-Mike McCarthy guy. You don't see the beautiful irony in the fact that he is about to be the Bears head coach in a couple of days?
What am I supposed to do? There are
like the rest of us.
There are, I honestly probably. I asked Chris Tannehill, the greatest audio producer in radio or podcast at any level, when he was first linked to the job like a week ago. I was like, hey, can you, obviously no rush on this, but like, can you please send me like a mashup of like things I said on Mike McCarthy over the years of you producing my show? And he was like, yeah, no problem. And I thought like, he'd get it to me like in the next week or something like that. He had it to me in 14 minutes. Like, it was so easy for him to like search his database. And I mean, I've called him a fraud like 100 times. And so it would just put me in a weird spot of needing him to be good, rooting for Caleb Williams, so therefore rooting for McCarthy, but absolutely believing that he was born on third base and thinking that he hit a triple because he inherited Aaron Rodgers' prime. And it's just, and underachieved with it, by the way. So I get why everyone will laugh at me, but I will be in a real trick bag of a spot.
Well, you know what, then? With all that being said, I want them to hire Mike McCarthy as the head coach for the Chicago Bears. Think about it this. Right now, everything in your life is going great. You're on national TV. You're doing well. You had a Times Square billboard. You get to work with Nick, your relationship, everything, your family's beautiful. Everything is going well. That makes me want to root against you just a little bit.
Sure.
That makes me want to root against you. So go Mike McCarthy.
Well, no, so now here's the thing about Mike McCarthy that like is why I'm in a weird spot. Like, there are worse coaches. He's not the worst coach in the NFL. Like, he has a high floor. He can do the job. He's had offensive success. Like you could absolutely make a worse hire for Caleb Williams than Mike McCarthy. But when I had like 10 of them. Like, Mike McCarthy for the Wire, he's a 40-degree day. Nobody has anything to say about a 40-degree day. He's like, you order the number 2 at McDonald's and the fries are lukewarm. Like, it's a good meal, but you're not proud of it. I love chicken parmesan. But like, if you go to a fine Italian restaurant and you order the chicken parmesan, you're probably not getting the best thing on the menu. Like, it's not like what they're known for. Every Italian restaurant has chicken parmesan. He's an opposite field single. You don't go home from the Royals game being like, you know what? I saw Bobby Witt take first to third, and I can't wait to tell my grandkids about it. Like, he's just white toast. He's bland. He's just, So, like, no. Go take your shot at greatness, and even if it has a little bit more of a bust factor, I'm okay with it. Because you're like, oh, wouldn't you love to be a favorite in a playoff game? I mean, sure, but I would have no faith that he'd be able to execute. So, I mean, God, it makes me so mad. It makes me so mad.
Well, you know what, Danny? Career and your personal life, you've been eating filet mignon for a long time now. I'm happy for you to get back to hamburger helper. That's what keeps you humble. That's what keeps you centered. That was Danny Parkins joining us on the show today from FS1 and Breakfast Ball. I just listened to his podcast earlier this morning with Colin Cowherd. A great podcast, covers all topics, covers wildfires, the NBA, the NFL. You're really a man of all trades, Danny Parkins.
Going on that pod with Colin is a unbelievably fun, unbelievably surreal, and just a little bit nerve-wracking because there's no prep, there are no topics. I have no idea what he's going to say. I'm pretty sure that he doesn't know what he's going to say. And like one time we did it, and he was like, "So, what did you think about the assassination attempt on President Trump?" That was how he opened. And I'm like, I was like, Colin, like, I don't know. Don't really want to be aggregated on this one, buddy. Can we talk about anything else? And so, he's just, but it's a lot of fun doing that with Colin. And yeah, it's a good listen. You should subscribe.
I appreciate you. That's Danny Parkins of FS1 joining us on the show today. Thanks, Danny.
See you, buddy.
Absolutely. That's our conversation with Danny Parkins of FS1 and Breakfast Ball. If you missed any part of that conversation, be sure to check it out on the podcast page. Rob, what 2000 show after I finish Entourage, if I had to guess just based on the pace that I'm on watching it, I think I probably finished Entourage at some point near the end of February. That seems about right. I'm watching it more during the week, less on the weekends for obvious reasons because of the NFL and college basketball. But I've probably been watching 1, 2, maybe 3 episodes a night. It's a really easy watch. You can watch 3 episodes in an hour if you're not pausing. If you can really kind of rack it up a little bit. It's been a great binge watching show. What's the next 2000 show that I should watch? I just finished Sopranos. I am moving on to Entourage. What's next for me in my 2000s journey?
That's a great question. I'm actually mostly surprised you've never seen Entourage.
I never saw a second of it. My friend, that's actually his favorite show, and he's been telling me for the longest time to check it out. I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. And I decided that now was eventually.
Let me ask you a question. I know you did a Seinfeld watch. Did you enjoy your time watching Seinfeld?
I did. I don't know if that's the kind of show that I want to watch from start to finish.
Because Curb would have been my answer. Curb started in the 2000s. Now, it had some longevity and kept going, but if you like that Seinfeld lane, basically Larry David takes that idea and does it to the nth degree.
I did want to watch Lost, but there were just so many episodes, and everybody kept telling me to not start Lost. I was watching Prison Break. I just been on a what was popular in 2001 television kick. I was watching Prison Break for a while. Then it was like, wait, now they're in a different prison. And like, why am I watching it? You broke out of prison one. Now I got to watch you break out of another prison. I was out. I didn't have any interest in watching Prison Break. I will never go back to see what happens. Now we're chasing down the people that put you in the second prison. No, thank you. I have no interest in going back to watch Prison Break. All right. Coming up at the top of the hour, Sean Barber is going to join us in studio. We'll get back to very serious football things, but to pay our respects to Bob Uecker, the voice of the movie Major League. I made my own list today, Rob. You made your list of your 5 least favorite KU players. I made my own list. I made my list of what I think the 5 best quotes are in a sports movie. I will play them for you next. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Fellas, it's the new year, and for many of us, this is a time to reflect and make some positive changes in your life. And if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction and you're tired of the frustration and embarrassment that it causes, it's time to pick up the phone and call Heartland Men's Health. Resolve your ED today, and at Heartland Men's Health, they have treatments that work when all your other options have failed you. And with a success rate of over 90%, you can see instant result. Do you remember the first time that this happened? You thought it was going to be a one-time thing, but then it happened again and again. But that's perfectly fine because there is a cure. This is a treatable problem if you just pick up the phone and call my friends at Heartland Men's Health. They have successfully treated men's across the metro, and for just $100, you can get your initial visit, a medical consult, some tests, and a test dose. And if this doesn't work in the office, then your visit is on the house. So pick up the phone and change your life. Call 844-447-6600 or visit heartlandmenshealth.com with 3 locations around the metro to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Get ready for an epic night of Ultimate Fighting Championship at Twin Peaks on Saturday, January 18th. Don't miss out on the best seats in the house and the Ultimate Fight Night experience. Grab your fight buddies and get ready for a knockout night.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down: 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at at all Odyssey radio stations.
T-Mobile 5G home internet keeps getting better. Get our fastest connection loaded with benefits. Get T-Mobile's best home internet starting at $55 a month with auto pay and any voice line. Plus, Price Lock. We won't raise your rate on internet. Check availability at T-Mobile.com/home internet.
Exclusions like taxes and fees apply. Guarantees regular monthly rate plan price of fixed wireless 5G internet data with qualifying service. After $15 bill credit with postpaid voice line plus $5 a month without auto pay with debit or bank account. Regulatory fees included for qualifying accounts. $35 connection charge applies. Speeds vary due to factors affecting cellular networks.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Divisional round coverage of the Chiefs and Texans on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer partner of your Kansas City Chiefs. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash with the right lane closed of westbound 435 in the Metro South Side just before Metcalf. Traffic is heavy behind it, and the left lane closed for a collision involving multiple vehicles southbound 435. That's just before Gregory. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, welcome back into The Drive. You're listening on 96.5 The Fan, 965thefan.com, and the Odyssey app. You can also stream the show on YouTube. We will get back to playoff football coming up at the top of the hour. Sean Barber is going to join us in studio, but we're going to pay respects to Bob Uecker. If you don't know who Bob Uecker was, he is the longtime voice of the Milwaukee Brewers, and he is also Harry Doyle from Major League. So, as I was thinking about Harry Doyle, and I love Major League, I imagine you also love the movie Major League, I decided to compile my own list because we sports talk people, we love a list. So this is the list that I put together. I wrote down what I think are the 5 best quotes in a sports movie. I don't have an honorable mention here. These are just what I think are the 5 best quotes in a sports movie. I don't even have to put them in order. Let's start with the very obvious one. R.I.P. Harry Doyle.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his Major League debut. Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Rob, you and I reviewed Major League 2 for our podcast, Bad Movies, Worst Opinions. Doyle carries the second movie. The first movie, it's about your usual cast of characters, right? The second one, it is just Bob Uecker being hilarious every time he is being asked to be funny. I think Just a Bit Outside, it is no question to me, Just a Bit Outside is one of the 5 best quotes in any sports movie.
No doubt. I mean, if you type in Major League into Twitter and the GIF bar, it is probably one of the top ones that pops up. Just a Bit Outside is obviously top 5, and you're right. Major League 2 is just Bob Uecker being a character, but Just a Bit Outside, also underrated. Beginning of that quote, he came to the tribe after time as a juvenile delinquent is a hilarious comment too.
Let's keep the baseball theme going. I'm giving you guys what I think are the 5 best quotes in any sports movie. Here's number 2.
Are you crying?
No.
Are you crying? Are you crying? There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Tom Hanks from A League of Their Own. There's no crying in baseball. This is one of the greatest sports quotes that we have ever seen. I do not have another baseball movie inside my top 5. I don't have anything from Sandlot. I don't have If You Build It, They Will Come. It is not beating. There is no crying in baseball.
Hold on. If You Build It, They Will Come should be in the top 5.
I don't have it in my top 5. It's out of here. It's not in the top 5. I feel even better with the other 3 that I have. And at the end of this, you'll be like, you know what? You're right.
It's not one of the 5 best quotes we've ever had from a sports movie. Not when quotes like this exist.
What started out as a joke has turned out to be a disaster.
The Creed appears to be in very serious condition.
The man alive.
If he dies, he dies.
Ivan Drago saying if he dies, he dies, as Apollo Creed is laying there lifeless in the ring after a savage beatdown at the hands of Ivan Drago, is one of the 5 greatest quotes ever in a sports movie. You guys know my theory on Apollo Creed. Paper champion. We have no evidence that Apollo Creed was a good fighter. In Rocky 1, he went to split decision with a rec league fighter. He loses in the 2nd movie. In the 3rd movie, he's retired. In the 4th movie, he couldn't have made it out the 2nd round before he went to the upper room and went to go spend more time with Mickey. He's a paper champion, and it really went to show you just a cold heart of Ivan Drago. Had no sympathy at all for human life. If he dies, he dies. One of the 5 greatest quotes in a sports movie.
You're about to have multiple Rockies on here, aren't you? You're about to I love Rocky, you love Rocky, everyone loves Rocky. If he dies, he dies is not a top 5 sports movie quote. It is like 7, 8. If you're doing a top 10, it's making the list. It can't be ahead of You're Killing Me, Smalls. It cannot be ahead of If You Build It, They Will Come. I don't know what else you have on the list, but I can think of one at the top of my head. And I love Rocky 4. If he dies, he dies is not one of them.
Well, you know me. There's another Rocky one on here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge Walker, Adrian.
There should be no debate about that.
I have no problem with
the
Adrian.
end of Rocky 1, when you're not sure if Rocky won the fight, he's busted up, he's bleeding, his eyes are swollen shut, and he's screaming for Adrian, who had one of the greatest glow-ups in movie history. You remember Adrian from the very beginning of Rocky. It wasn't really working for me. And then just over time, as she got a little bit more confidence and Rocky was helping her self-esteem, by the end of Rocky 1, she was a baddie. He's screaming, Adrian. He didn't even care if he won the fight. He didn't even care if he got a rematch or not. He just wanted his queen in the ring with him. Adrian! One of the 5 greatest quotes of all time in a sports movie. This is the last one. This might be the most controversial, but I think of all the quotes, this one maybe has held up the most out of any of the ones I've played so far. This is the last one. I played no crying in baseball, just a bit outside. R.I.P. to Bob Uecker. If he dies, he dies. Adrian, this is in my top 5.
What can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
Show me the money. Top 5 quote, Rob. Top 5 quote. Rod Tidwell, Jerry Maguire. Show me the money. Those are the 5 greatest quotes of any sports movie. That is a definitive list. No one can argue.
All right, so I have a couple questions. Now, and this is maybe the semantics of it, and I will forgive you if this is part of that. Do we count entire scenes as quotes? Because it's a game of inches, you fight and claw with your fingernails from Any Given Sunday is an absolutely elite scene. But if you're saying, hey, that's not a singular quote, that's fine. I feel the same way about Kurt Russell's speech in Miracle. His speech before the game against the Soviets, incredible. But if you're saying that's a scene and not a quote, that's fine. But those two are misses unless they don't fit your criteria.
I don't think they fit the criteria for the reasons that you just gave. I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Any Given Sunday, a little bit overrated. A little bit overrated. A little bit overrated. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think it's as good as you guys think that it is. The speech is all right. You want to know when I was kind of out on Any Given Sunday? This is when I was out. When they were playing football and the guy's eyeball popped out and it was on the turf. I was like, what are we watching here? What is this nonsense? I was out at that point.
I also think you have a major omission here. Caddyshack Be the Ball is got to be on this list. Caddyshack might be a top 5 sports movie of all time, and Be the Ball from Chevy Chase when he's trying to describe how to putt to Noonan, and he's got the blindfold on. Be the ball. Be the ball. Come on. Maybe you've never seen Caddyshack, and that changes the calculus.
Okay,
but Caddyshack has to be on
here. There was
here.
no reason to disrespect me in this. We're two gentlemen. We're two friends having a good conversation. Now you're going to try and insult me and say I haven't seen Caddyshack before? You took it to a place that it didn't need to be. This might be the best list I've ever put together. And I've put together some bangers. I've put together some heaters over the years. I might be the best list maker in the world. Put that on my tombstone. Carrington Harrison, list maker. This might be the best one I put together. If he dies, he dies. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll be joined by Sean Barber. He's going to be in studio for the entire 5 o'clock hour. I'm sure he will argue against stats because that's what Sean Barber does. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Multi-car crash closing the left lane of southbound 435 just before Gregory. Stalled out car closing the right lane of northbound 435 right at 70. And a vehicle fire southbound 35 just past Mission Road. Left lane closed there, so expect slowdowns throughout that whole area. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Hey, it's Carrington here, and let me tell you about my new obsession, Daisy French Onion Dip. I love football season. I love snack season. So when you're eating chips, wings, or veggies and you're looking for that perfect complement, look no further than Daisy French Onion Dip. And now they have a ranch dip. And I'm telling you, this is a game changer. These are as good as homemade dips with real herbs and spices and ingredients that you'd find in your own kitchen. So go try the Daisy French Onion Dip today. Trust me, you'll love it. You can find it at a grocery store near you.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state, back and forth, dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then. 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa. Beyond the surface.
Get ready to elevate your game this NFL playoff season with FanDuel, because right now all customers can get a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay for any game. Just place a 3-leg NFL same-game parlay and you'll get bonus bets back if your bet doesn't win. Same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. So what are you waiting for? Get your no-sweat same-game parlay on America's #1 sportsbook. Visit FanDuel.com/Alex. FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Refund issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max wager $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
This sandwich is not just spicy, it's flavorful. Hi, this is Patayo, and this is Elsa. And a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is that spicy kick. Because the spice comes in at just the right moment. Oh, no. A little thing I love is that cilantro lime sauce. It's a fun blend of zesty and bold. That's what really makes me happy. Are you going to eat all your fries?
Order a Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich and a Diet Dr. Pepper on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways.
Put together an emergency kit with WipeWall. Create a family communication plan with your Tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Shamrock Roofing and Construction. ShamrockRoofer.com.
Hey folks, it's Garen from Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Thank you for making Shamrock Roofing one of the top 30 roofing companies in the nation. We're family owned and ready to help you with your roof today. Inspect, repair, replace. One call does it all at Shamrock Roofing. Visit ShamrockRoofer.com.
You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Texans divisional round playoff game with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
They don't look at football in the same way.
You look in your little black box.
You always hate me going to the computer.
You always searching for something that don't matter.
Going to the computer box.
You seen the film like I seen the film, man.
And it leads to a lot of disagreements.
You not answering my questions anymore? This is a silent protest?
Every Thursday at 5, it's time for former Chiefs linebacker Sean Barber to join the drive.
I love to be able to come on here and tell a factual, real story. And we got Sean Barber joining us in studio, a man who needs no introduction.
No, of course I do need an introduction. I have to veto this old introduction. They talking about me and you arguing about the black box and we don't get along. We argue like that. Who is that? They don't know me.
Yeah, they don't. I was gonna tell a story about how you and I were getting along. So you and Danon invited me out to watch the playoffs with you guys on Sunday.
Yes.
So I show up to watch Broncos and Bills. And it was a really good time. A lot of important people, a lot of Chiefs ambassadors. It was food and drinks flowing. It was a great time.
Shout out to our waitress. You don't even know her name, but Miss Abby.
I do remember her name.
Shout out to Miss Abby. And also, man, Kendall, the owner of Outlaw Brewery, basically 2 different locations, man. Love the establishment. We got to do some more of that postseason celebration style.
So I show up to the thing. I'm sitting there. I'm watching the game with Barbershop. And, we're having a good time. Barber's telling me a story, and I look up, and I see Josh Allen on the sideline just fraternizing with the official. And I look at Barbershop, I'm like, Barber, you played in the NFL for a decade. Have you ever seen anything like this before? Can you imagine if there was a video of Patrick Mahomes sitting on the sideline, just sipping a little Powerade, little Gatorade, whatever the official drink is of the NFL, and the ref came over there for a chit chat, it would break the internet. And you didn't have the same. I was crestfallen by this observation.
Yeah, I didn't have the same energy at all because at that point the game was over. Denver, they had their drive, right? It was 13-7.
Barbershop. How many football games have you played in your life? Hundreds?
100. Maybe really. Like maybe 100 on the dot.
Has any game that you've played in, has an official left the field of play and came onto your sideline to talk to one of the players? I can't believe that we didn't spend more time talking about this during the week.
It didn't affect the outcome of the game. It wasn't like I think if it was a closer game and there was some kind of gamesmanship question, I mean, at the end of the day, the better team won and moved on. Obviously, Denver's still having some buyer's remorse or something. I don't know what they're having. They're having some relapse about what could have, should have, what might have happened if we had won. We would have, found a way to Kansas City. I did hear that take over and over again by Sean Payton.
Teams love to hypothetically beat the Chiefs. They never actually beat the Chiefs. It's always, well, if the refs had done this, or if we had got this opportunity, or they love to do this. No one actually beats the Chiefs. They just beat them in their mind.
I think it's kind of one of those things, human nature. Eventually, you got to start changing reality, right? Like, how many times do we need to see that the Chiefs are the favorite going into the game? You go the wide receiver group, the offensive line, the running backs, the coaching, the defense, the second. You go down the checklist, right? And you're saying, all right, who checks the box, the tail of the tape like a boxing match. Well, of the 10 boxes, the Chiefs got 8 of them. And we're trying to figure out, like, how is this team going to hypothetically find a way to beat the Chiefs? And we always come up, well, maybe if Patrick Mahomes has one of his worst games of his career, if Patrick Mahomes somehow maybe closes his eyes when he throws the ball, and, maybe all of his teammates decide to get the drop C's, and defensively we forget what defensive coverages we're really there's a lot of hypotheticals that can lead towards an outcome that is not in favor of the Chiefs. But more than likely, if the Chiefs prepare for a game, they put in a game plan, they have really good coaching, and they play the game, and there's not a bunch of those, 1 in a million type snaps, or the ball bounces through 3 people's hands and the other team still catches the ball. I think we've seen that happen against the Chiefs. There's a lot of things that have to happen for you to believe in a ball game where it's going to be 50 snaps on offense, 50 snaps on defense. Of these 100 plays, really, about 10 of them decides who wins and who loses.
I think when we sit down at the table and you start to make who can beat Kansas City, I think the first question you have to ask yourself is, can they score enough? Like Buffalo can score enough. Yeah. Baltimore can score enough. Yes. Detroit can score enough, for example. I don't think Houston is one of those teams with the amount of injuries that they have, with their offensive line, with the wide receivers that are missing, no Diggs, no Tank Dell. I just don't think you're beating Kansas City 17-14, and I think that's how they would need to win this game with the amount of injuries that they have. Now, maybe they get a special teams touchdown. Maybe they get a defensive touchdown that obviously changes the math of the game, but I don't know if Houston has enough firepower to be able to stand up to a fully healthy, fully rested Chiefs team on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know how many field goals they're going to make, but I think I heard early on, Ron, Ron the show was on with. Was he with y'all on the midday show?
Both.
He was with both of y'all?
No.
Man, shout out to
doing a lot of work.
Ron been. You know why Ron's doing a lot of work? Because his season's about to be over.
Yeah, that's true.
He's getting on as many shows.
He got a lot of free time coming up.
Hey, man, listen, this is about to come to an end, so let me go ahead and get on everybody's show I can, because Houston's season's about to be over. But at the end of the day, man, again, from a competitive standpoint, if somebody was to ask me, do the Texans have a chance? Yes. I've watched too many football games to realize there's never a situation where somebody doesn't have a chance. It's just from a competitive nature when you have 2 really good teams that have executed so well throughout the season. The injuries on the Texan sides, it just matters so much. After we get, even Collins coming back, yes, he's a phenomenal receiver, but I think like Robert Woods hasn't practiced this week. So even without the 2 and the 3, the 4 he might not be healthy. So then it's going to practice squad guys. I don't know if you can go into a game against the Chiefs with one true NFL receiver and then a bunch of practice squad guys. And Joe Mixon is ailing a little bit, right? Like
he didn't practice today, yeah.
So he's not 100%. That's a lot of weight to put on your second-year quarterback's shoulders, even though in this second year it hasn't been as sharpest. You take last year's CJ, and maybe he was doing some fireworks last year. This year it's been a little regression. It's been some hiccups, and he just doesn't. It's just not a really full stable of skills and assets for those guys to go, especially when the Chiefs are healthy. And they're playing really good football the last, 3-4 games of the year, barring the Denver game. But the guys are healthy and they're ready to hunt, and they're purpose driven. They know what they want to do. They want to be a three-peat. They want to be historic. All the woulda, couldas, is this a dynasty or not? All that. When you win 3 championships in a row, there is no other team to put above the Chiefs if you actually can win 3 NFL championships in 3 seasons, that 3-year becomes the greatest dynasty, the legacy. It goes right to the top.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Sean Barber. He's going to be in studio for the whole hour. We'll probably do a little Ask Barber in the final segment, but there's certainly a lot to get into before then. I'm still a CJ Stroud believer. Rob's a little bit on the fence about it. I don't really think that this year the infrastructure was there for him to take that big step forward. I don't think that Houston can block. I think Houston has a bottom 5 offensive line. So you got a young quarterback, a bad offensive line, and you lose your number 1 wide receiver in Stephon Diggs. You lose Tank Dell at some point. They had a stretch where they didn't have Nico Collins. It's just been a lot of change around CJ. And the fact that this team still won double-digit games with the first-place schedule, the fact that they still won a playoff game, I think is a testament to how good he is as a quarterback and also the defense that they're building. I'm still very much a believer on C.J. Stroud. Where are you at?
When it comes to quarterbacks, I would hope that no one even submits a judgment until year 3. Let a guy get two years of starting, not a year on the bench, not the Aaron Rodgers, a few seasons watching Brett Favre. Let the quarterback actually play football for 2 complete years. And then going into his 3rd year of playing football, you should have a really good feel of what this guy is capable of doing, his cans, cannots, what system and style he's most comfortable under. Up until then, I don't have enough film to make a decision about CJ. I know he has a skill level, but I've seen him, kind of crumble under the lights also. I've seen some throws that are just really not high football IQ throws. I've seen him try to fit the ball into windows that at that point in the game, it was no need to do it. So when somebody's making mistakes like that to me believes that guy's putting way too much pressure on him. Like it's just, again, it's not enough bodies in the room to really rise to the occasion. So he's putting it on himself. I got to make this play. And they just don't have a team right now that can support that kind of play from that kind of player. And then in retrospect, we look at like Bo Nix, and we look at Jalen Daniels, right? Those guys are having phenomenal rookie seasons. I don't want to make a determination of how good they're going to be until we get to like 2026. Let's get halfway through the 3rd season and where the defensive coordinator's got some film on them. We're watching some tendencies. We can talk about, 4th quarter excellence or, how they perform in the last 2 minutes of the game, the last 2 minutes of the half. The things that really separates the really great quarterbacks from the Joe Burrows of the world. I mean, because, I stand beside that. I'm not a Joe Burrow guy, and I probably pronounce his last name wrong. But that Cincinnati quarterback is just, he's a guy who's been given all the tools, all the assets. Surrounded by all pros, and not that he doesn't win champions, but sometimes he doesn't make the playoffs. And I think it's a shame that a guy can be that good at that position, and somehow you tell me that he gets a pass because he puts up tremendous yards and tremendous touchdowns. Yeah, look at the talent around him. Like it doesn't take much of a arm to throw the ball to Higgins and Chase. They're some of the most consistent 50-50 ball wide receivers in the league. So from an offensive standpoint, there are certain guys that are playing the quarterback position at a very high rate, and then there's some guys that are kind of getting by on the talent around them. So, yeah, no, I'm not a C.J. Stroud guy. I'm not a Bo Nix guy. I'm holding out until I get 2 or 3 years of film on him.
You saw one practice of Patrick Mahomes and put him in Canton, though.
Yeah. He's different.
He was different. No, that makes sense. All right, I do have some Chiefs-specific questions to ask you. Let's start with this.
Did I put him in Canton?
We can go back and find the audio. You saw Patrick Mahomes throw one pass at St. Joe and told me he was going to Canton. You ended up being right, though. I will give you that. You ended up being right about Patrick.
Because when you see it.
You saw him do wind sprints. He didn't even pick up the football yet. You saw him do wind sprints. It was like, oh, he's the greatest I've ever seen. You saw those flowing locks and just were enthralled by Mahomes.
I can't even, it's hard for me to take myself back to that moment because I can't unseen the last however many years of seeing Patrick Mahomes. But when he was the backup quarterback and watching him warm up and thinking to myself like, all right, he's about to be the scout team. I don't know who we had playing defense at the time, but he's about to get people fired. Like if you're in the number one defense and you're going against Patrick Mahomes and the scout team receivers and stuff, even the covered guys were being thrown open. So like it was phenomenal, man. Like I was like thinking to myself, what am I like the cheat code? You're playing Madden and the other guy got the cheat code and you just like, I'm playing the right defenses, I'm doing everything right, and somehow they still letting them catch the ball.
The Bears saw that and they still got Mitch Trubisky. I mean, they had a chance to get Patrick Mahomes too. They saw the same pro day, had the same information. It was like, you know what? This kid from North Carolina, he's got a shot. I do want to get your opinion on this. Let's say that Andy Reid called you up and says, you know what, man?
I like this. I like where it's going already. I like where it's going already.
You're such a great football mind, Sean Barber.
Appreciate that, Coach.
I'm really torn about what I should do at left tackle. I've got two great options.
I'm torn too.
What would you advise Andy Reid to do? Would you start DJ Humphries at left tackle on Saturday, or would you start Joe Thuney? I would start Joe Thuney.
I would like to say that with the makeup of the offensive line right now, I would love to believe that Joe Thuney is a better guard than he is tackle. And I believe if DJ Humphries can come in and give us some solid play, some average play, collectively the offensive line I think will work better with Joe going back to his original position. So I would love to start the game out that way, knowing at any point it's such a, I mean that rope, that chain on that left tackle position is going to be so short. Like the fuse is so short. Like it's not. There's not any room for error when it comes to the left tackle position. So I think I would go into the game with Humphries, and then like I'm telling you, I got a coach looking at that position at every snap. And the second he makes one mistake, I'm gonna have to go ahead and go and.
But to me though, that's not going out there with the confidence. Like if you are in a relationship right now and all it takes is for her to say the wrong thing one time and you go crash out and break up with her, then your relationship is over. If we're saying is that you are going into a playoff game and your left tackle has absolutely no room for error and no leash, then that's not your left tackle then, especially when you've seen the other option. You played Houston a month ago. Joe Thuney performed well. You saw him against Pittsburgh in that front four. He played really well.
Yeah.
Like, we have seen different combinations of the Chiefs' offensive line. There is one offensive line that has performed the best. Joe Thuney at left tackle, Caliendo at left guard, and the rest of the offensive line. I don't know now why, for the most important game of the season, we now would have the idea of, hey, why don't we do something different than what we did in the regular season when we won 15 games? Just doesn't make sense to me.
Because we have not seen Humphries at tackle with Thuney. We haven't seen that combination on game day.
You know, and that part's unfortunate, but the time to see that is not the playoffs. He had an opportunity. He was hurt during the regular season.
All right, so
that time was week 15, week 16, and he was over in the tent. What do they say? Your best ability is availability?
Yeah.
Well, you joined the team on Black Friday, and then you were hurt all December. What are we doing here? I'm sorry you weren't healthy enough to play this year. You got to come off the bench and be a break-in case of emergency guy.
Is he healthy on Saturday?
I mean, probably.
Then to me, I'm playing him. Like that's what I would do. You asked me what I would do.
Yeah, that's fair. I did ask you that.
If he's healthy on Saturday and we warm up and he's ready to go, I'm putting Joe back in his natural position. And then, like I said, it's a very short lead. Like I don't have much. There is no wiggle room. You come out there and you play it at a high level, or we're gonna go back to what we know works. But I think that the opportunity to have, like I said, like a guy who can grow into that position, and it might even be beyond just the first series or the second series of this game. I think knowing that could be a stopgap or a guy that can be in that position beyond just this one season can open up so many paths for us to improve in other positions. And I feel like after this season's over, we gotta go get us a left tackle. Like if Humphries does not work, then we're back at square one. Like we're back in the market of looking for that's a high priced position.
But I guess
we don't have any answers right now.
This is where I disagree with you at. And you would know this far better than me. You played in the NFL. To me, Humphries not being ready after
not having OTAs, not having minicamp, not having preseason, not playing until Black Friday. I'm not looking at it, well, if he doesn't go out and perform, well, you didn't play enough during the season. How about next year we bring you back on a 1-year deal and we have you go through the normal football things? You played the game. I think this big thing with me, at least with him, is just timing. I don't know how you get your timing to play left tackle in the NFL if you just haven't been playing, and that just seems like a position that you can't really simulate. I don't know how you get him ready and get him up to speed for what the playoffs are going to be if he played 92 snaps this season.
It's air and opportunity. That's what he has. The opportunity is going to arise on Saturday. If he's healthy, you play him. Because you start there, don't mean there's no limitation. Like, you don't have to play him for the first quarter because he starts there. You don't have to play him for the first half. Like, we're gonna start there. And if anything looking like it's not right, we all know
left tackle like his wide receiver, like his running back.
We all know what the plan B is. So, like, the plan B is solid.
It's a great plan.
It's a great plan. Why start with plan B? Let's just.
Can we be honest? Maybe you won't be honest here. I feel like we're only having this opinion because they're playing Houston in the first round. Where
I don't have
this week, if they were playing Buffalo or Baltimore, we wouldn't be willing to experiment and see how things go. This is a disrespect to Houston. And well, you know what? We got one more practice game before the playoffs really start.
I mean, I can't 100% say that that's not like some feeling I have.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
I'm not saying that. I mean, I got to be honest with myself against the opponent. Everybody has a chance. Everybody has an opportunity. I do not believe the Houston Texans offense is an offense that I think they said 11 out of 12 weeks in a row they've had 2 or less touchdowns scored by the offense.
Mm-hmm.
That does not seem to be explosive, especially like that's including the wide receivers that are now hurt. So like you can't tell me they got worse skill players and somehow they're going to score more. And I do believe our offense has shown over the last month of evolving into being a more potent offense.
They've got more guys now. They got more firepower.
Yeah. So I'm willing to I am willing to like start out the Humphreys Tooney combo and see how it goes because yes, I do think that we are the skill level between the two teams is not as close as the Chiefs versus Ravens or the Chiefs versus Bills. So yes, you can use whatever word I'm not saying it's a preseason game. I'm not saying it's a warm-up game. It's playoff football. It's win or go home. But I don't know if the first quarter. Tune-up. I don't lose a game in the first quarter. I don't lose a game in the first half. We know this about football. It's
especially with Patrick Mahomes,
adjustments after halftime and how you finish ball games determines who wins and goes on. So I would love to see as many snaps possible by Humphreys to see, really what he is when he's healthy.
Right now, we got Sean Barber in studio. When did you notice a shift with the defense? Because there was a stretch there for about 4 weeks. The defense was not playing very well.
Minihue?
That's what I think, too.
Yeah, it's.
I think there's like 2 different kinds of defenses. There was like without a Minihue, and then when they got a Minihue, it just opened things up for everybody. It opened, like George Karlaftis has been a noticeably better player. I think that it has freed Chris Jones up to be more of a pass rushing defensive tackle, and I also think that Mike Dan has been better the last month now with Charles Minihue back.
Yeah, I mean, again, man, he adds an energy, a spark. He adds something to the room, and that's what team sports is. Like when you add a guy to the room, he brings something that adds a little bit of something to everybody, like the packages, the everything they're doing defensively from stunts and games and everything. There's a difference when the Minihue's out there and he's not. But also the coverage. Beginning of the season, we had Watson out there. He gets injured, so everybody has to kind of shift a little bit. Connors, Shamari's, his play is kind of, been having to play some different stuff when Watson went out. So him getting used to that new role and stuff. So, the possibility of getting Watson back and letting everybody kind of fall back to their natural positions opens up so much when it comes to the variation of disguises and where you can bring pressures from Coach Spags' defense. And then from just the front seven, when you talk about that D-line, they take pride in resetting that line of scrimmage. And they want to dump offensive players in the lap of the quarterback, puncture the pocket, immediate pressure through all gaps, overload blitzes, disguises, some bluffs and then some fakes. Everything is open. The complete playbook when it comes to postseason, there is no section we're working on anymore. That's during the season, right? You got let's say 100 different defenses. You got 18 weeks, so we're working on 5 to 6 different things each week, some variations, some adjustments. And then when you get to the end of the season, it's time to go to the playoffs. Hey guys, the hot sheet is the entire season. It's everything is hot. Everything is we can do it all. How many good defenses, how many great defenses that differentiates the good from the great is do you have a coordinator that has trust? Do you have players out there on the field that can communicate and get it done without blowing the coverage? I think that what we've seen from the Chiefs, if we go back to the last 2 years of playoff football, whatever they're doing defensively is damn good. It's getting done at a really high level. And then when it comes to the playoffs, on the offensive standpoint, historically they've drawn up some schemes that it seems like the other team just wasn't prepared for. When you talk about Tom and Jerry and some of those other plays, it seemed to catch other defenses like with the pants down kind of thing. For some reason, our defense hasn't been caught like that. So from a game preparation, from a ready sheet, all the things that you go into the postseason and you got to be, kind of on your game. Giving Andy Reid a free week to just draw up stuff and
really 2 weeks. They didn't do any preparation for the Broncos. They didn't do anything. They just showed up at the game.
And only reason I believe that is because they already played them twice, and so they probably prepared for them enough for the regular season where they exhausted all the nooks and crannies and all the different kind of schematic things. So now it's just let's see if they win and we can brush up what we already put together for those 2 weeks versus thinking about, all right, the other chances is that Houston comes in town. We've played them recently. So we had a ready sheet that was ready for them. We make some adjustments. But everything is up. Everything is alive. All the readies, all the hot calls, the checks. And that's what gets you, to me, that's what gets you excited about playoff football is when you have a quarterback and an offensive coordinator to speak the same language. And they have the ability to really, on the fly, fabricate an entire scheme to beat whatever you do defensively. They don't need to come to the sideline and pull out the iPads and the surfaces and watch and look at it and think about. No, they can, within plays, between two plays, they can totally adjust and change. And Patrick can be one-on-one with a guy and say, hey, man, I just need you to shorten up that route, give him another step in that nod and just take off. I'm gonna put it out there for you. So we can make adjustments on the fly, and I just don't think there's many teams in the NFL that can do that.
Coming up on the other side, I want to tell you the player that I think is going to benefit the most by the additional rest. I also want to get your thoughts on the age-old debate of rest versus rust. We got Sean Barber in studio breaking down the divisional round of the playoffs. Keep it right here. It's The Drive on 96.5 The Fan.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are just better with FanDuel because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Plus, when you win, you'll get paid instantly. All you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use that promo code to join today, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after free. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
It's cold outside, and the cupboard is bare. No worries. Let Hy-Vee do the shopping with aisles online. It's easy. Go to Hy-Vee.com, choose your store, select your items, and schedule a convenient pickup or delivery time. Right now, get $10 off any $125 Isles Online purchase. What could be better? We do the shopping and deliver your groceries. You stay warm and save money. Download the Isles Online app or go to Hy-Vee.com today.
As the Chiefs go for a three-peat in the big game, Hy-Vee's making my life easier. Hy-Vee's my one-stop shop for all game day needs. From official Chiefs apparel to fan favorites including wings, ready-to-bake pizza, and freshly prepared dips like spinach artichoke, street corn, and buffalo chicken dip. Hy-Vee has Chiefs-themed cookies and sheet cakes and cupcakes as well. Plus, don't forget the Hy-Vee Wine and Spirits department for all of your game day beverages. Elevate your home gate at Hy-Vee, the official grocery sponsor of the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Vehicle fire still closing the left lane of southbound 35 just past Mission Road. Very heavy traffic all the way back to the downtown loop there, and debris in the roadway northbound 35 to westbound 70. That is also stopping traffic. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We got Sean Barber in studio joining us here. Really happy to catch up with Sean Barber. Barbershop, I'll ask you this question first.
Let's go.
The age-old debate, rest versus rust. The Chiefs have had a lot of time off. The Chiefs have basically had Christmas Day until January 18th off. Do you think that matters? Is that going to play a factor? Because if I'll play devil's advocate here, we know that the Chiefs, they love to get down in the first 20 minutes of a game. There's nothing they love more than to be down 14-3, and now they need Patrick Mahomes to pull you out of the fire. That's my one worry about this game and what could keep this game close and have the Chiefs in jeopardy late. They start off a little bit slow. The timing is off. Houston forces the turnover early. Next thing you know, the Chiefs are playing from behind the 8 ball for the final 40 minutes of the game.
If you told me the Chiefs were, a few players nursing some injuries, and if somehow the rosters were a little bit more balanced, right? We're missing a few receivers. They're missing a few receivers. We got some guys beat up. They got some guys beat up. We're on our third safety. They're on their third. If you told me those things even themselves out, and then you said, all right, and we're rusty, then I think it matters. The rest is so important. Because you have a veteran team that knows how to practice, know how to prepare, know how to win. When I talk about rust, I look at it internally as I was a linebacker, and in week 4 of a season, I got hurt. And so I had to have surgery and come back the next year. And in the next training camp, which was 8 months, 9 months later, yes, I was rusty, but that's 9 months, not 24 days. Like, unfortunately, I don't think 24 days is enough time to get rusty. I think what happens is, and if I was a coach, I would be yelling at my players on a daily basis, get your pads down. You got to play with the right leverage. Get your pads down. We need lower, like this overemphasizing that even though we're not out here banging, I need you to understand you have to play this game with a certain amount of pad level and leverage, or it doesn't matter who's the better player. The low man wins in football when it comes to two forces meeting each other. And so I think that's the important part that you don't want to like forget is you don't want anybody starting to play too high, because also that's when the injury bug hits. You get soft tissue injuries, you get things that don't happen usually when you start playing a little bit too high. You get knees hitting you in the calves and in the thighs and stuff like that. So I'll tell my guys, just start the game playing aggressive, play low, come to balance, like all the things that just until we get out of the first quarter. And once we get out of the first quarter, you build up a sweat and you're lathered up, you're ready to go. It's time to all right, it's time to take the governor off and let's get it. Like pin your ears back, let's go hunt. But for the first 15 minutes of the game, I kind of would play it a little closer to my vest. I would be playing I don't want to say the word vanilla, but I would be doing some basic stuff. I wouldn't be too exotic, and I'm not doing flea flickers to start the game and all that kind of stuff. I'm just moving the ball, getting the ball in people's hands, letting them touch it, let the quarterback get in his flow. And if I'm the Texans, I'm doing the opposite. I'm blitzing, I'm doing anything I can to prevent the Chiefs from ever getting in a comfortable mode. I don't want them to get lathered up and get their I want them to feel like we're speeding up the clock. I want the receivers coming out of breaks wondering where the ball's at. Why is the ball late? I'm adjusting. I'm being sticky on the receivers. I'm playing a lot of man. That's the game plan I would have going into the game. And if I lose 50 to whatever, then so be it. But you can't let Patrick Mahomes get surgical. You can't let him get in a rhythm, especially with all his weapons.
So I made a list a couple of days ago of the players who I think benefit most from having this extended time off, and I put Isaiah Pacheco at number one. I'm not really sure if Pacheco has been healthy for the last 3 months, ever since the broken leg. You played 2 games, you broke your leg, you came back, you haven't had the same burst, haven't had the same explosiveness, and now you get 25 days to kind of rest up and heal up. And I think now we can say that Pacheco maybe came back a little bit too early with the injury, that he probably needed a little bit more time. I think this could be the first time since week 2 that we see a fully healthy and ready Isaiah Pacheco. I had him number 1 on my list.
Well, I don't have a list of guys who I think benefited the most, but I would say there's a handful of guys I would believe that's on that list. Kelce, Pacheco, Hollywood Brown, Amenahue. I would think that those are the guys we're referring to. But yeah, of those group of guys, I would say Pacheco is one of the top guys. I don't think that they should have held him out any longer. I think once you're ready to go, you got to get it back on the field. Like once you're medically healthy, extra rest is not going to get you prepared to go play football.
He just doesn't have the same burst that he had before.
Do you know where you get that from? Playing football. Like it's like guys that cut wood, you build up those calluses, right? You can't do the job that you can usually do unless you got to tear some skin a little bit. You got to create some grind and some grit. You got to tear up the muscles a little bit and get some of that soreness out. You got to do some stuff when you're building, kind of building for greatness. And as a running back, unfortunately, you can't go out here against air and think that you're going to get better. I mean, you got to get hit. You got to get a little bit sore, and then you got to recover. You got to get sore and recover, and then you get to a point where your mind starts to block out the soreness, and now you go out there and you're just running. You're back to the old Pacheco, and I don't think holding him out when he's healthy. Again, it's a medical determination. Once you're healthy, you just go, and they can reduce your snaps and limit that kind of stuff until you build up. But I think that the earlier we got him out there, then we're going to reap the rewards in the postseason by him and Hollywood Brown getting back out there on the field as soon as possible.
I think Hollywood has been great. I think Hollywood, if you hadn't been watching the Chiefs all season, and let's say the first time that you watched them was Christmas,
You would never know that Hollywood just joined the team 2 weeks ago.
Because he was there all again. That's the importance of training camp. You build up some knowledge about the game that you can carry on. And I also think as good as we saw the version of Hollywood Brown, even though it was late in the season for a few weeks, I think the peak, the ceiling for what we can do with D-Hop is also I don't even think we've even close to see what true D-Hop postseason looks like. All the game, I don't think we've even come close to tapping that resource. And I think each week he gains so much knowledge about the game just in the preparation, just hearing us game plan and putting in plays and what Patrick is seeing, how he's seeing things allows him as a receiver just to, it's going to be magnificent, man. That's the exciting part for me. Barring who's on the other side of the sideline, I'm not worried about whether it's the Texans, the Bills, the Ravens. If the Chiefs go out there and take care of their business and actually on the offensive side, go up and down the field like I know they can go up and down, I don't understand. I don't see how a defense, unless we take the foot off the gas, can keep us from 25 points a half. Yep, 50. Yeah, 25 if needed.
That's the Barber I know and love. You got him hanging 50 on Houston?
I
just watched the Chiefs. I know how they act sometimes. They'll just have like a 13-minute stretch there where you're just like, what are the Chiefs doing right now? What's happening? They love that little 13-minute stretch. They love to make the game just a lot closer and more intriguing than it needs to be.
It's postseason. If they're like
they do that in the regular season. They do that like a week 7 game. They love to just make a week 7 game stressful for no reason. Why is this stressful? You're playing Carolina. Take care of business.
Again, they got things they're working on, and it's not about scoring the most points you can in every game. It's a technique, or it's a play set, it's a series, it's getting everybody on the same page when it comes to a certain schematic thing they're working on the offense. And sometimes that you don't get the first down, you got to get off the field. But we were able to work on what we needed to work on, which down the road is going to help us put together some really good drives. During the regular season, while everybody else is trying to accumulate wins, the Chiefs are pursuing like a vision of greatness. I don't think they knew it at the time, but Hollywood Brown getting hurt, Rashee Rice getting hurt, Pacheco getting hurt, it kind of forced their hand. Juju came back, Miko came back, addition of D-Hop, Hunt comes back. And now you take those, and now some of those assets that went away, the Pachecos and Hollywood Browns get healthy again. So now you're left with, you're left with something special that we haven't seen here in Kansas City in a long time. You're left with some.
I think this is the most weapons they've had since they traded Tyreek.
Oh my goodness! Like, I can't even think of a time. You tell me when the roster has been more stacked than we are. The deck has. Tell me which roster has been more stacked than the deck right now.
Let me think about that. I'm going to guess it was probably the first team. You had Kelce at a high level, Tyreek Hill at a high level, Sammy Watkins. You had a capable run game. Their defense was good enough. Their defense wasn't as good as it was now.
Capable run game. What is that? Help me.
David Williams was good. David Williams was fine. David Williams was about what Kareem Hunt is right now in the offense. And he could catch the ball at backfield. I thought they had a lot. That 2019 offense was loaded too.
We ain't seen Kareem since. We ain't seen.
You want to talk about a team that could hang 50 on you? That team could hang 50 on you. This team, I don't think, is hanging 50 on anybody. Coming up on the other side, the Chiefs are not the only playoff game this weekend. I want to get your thoughts on Bills and Ravens. And you played for the Commanders and the Eagles. We got to get your thoughts on those teams as well. Keep it right here. We'll do it on the other side. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa. Beyond the surface.
This weekly football preview is brought to you by MD Anderson Cancer Center.
Playoff action continues this weekend with the remaining 8 teams set to face off for the divisional round as they continue their road to the championship. Saturday, Kansas City will take on Houston at home, followed by a Detroit home game against Washington, and the action continues on Sunday with games set in Philadelphia and Buffalo.
At MD Anderson Cancer Center, we're doing whatever it takes to end lung cancer. Visit mdandersonlungcancer.com to learn more.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here with the Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly. Sunday in the divisional round of the Pro Football Playoffs, Philadelphia hosts Los Angeles in the NFC. Philly is a 6-point home favorite, total in the game sitting at 44. Now, as far as the side goes, I think this may go up a little bit as we approach Sunday. I'm looking for a good number to take with Los Angeles, but the total is what I'm eyeing right now, and it's sitting at 44. It looks like it's going to drop down to 43.5, and if it does, I'm going to look to play the over on this game. LA's offense looked good on Monday night against Minnesota, and I do have faith in Philly's offense. Over 43.5 for me, Philly and LA. That's it for this Sports Betting Minute, brought to you by BetMGM. Download the BetMGM app and take your game to the next level with the sportsbook born in Vegas. Please gamble responsibly.
BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Please gamble responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Shamrock Roofing and Construction. ShamrockRoofer.com.
Hey folks, it's Karen from Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Thank you for making Shamrock Roofing one of the top 30 roofing companies in the nation. We're family owned and ready to help you with your roof today. Inspect, repair, replace. One call does it all at Shamrock Roofing. Visit ShamrockRoofer.com.
It's playoff time, KC. Join Cody and Gold Friday from 10 to 2 as they broadcast live from the Rally House at Barry Woods Crossing. Shop the latest KC styles and official postseason gear, plus enter to win Rally House gift cards while you're there. Details at 965thefan.com. You're listening to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti, locally here on 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti is presented locally by ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Two-car crash, westbound 70 just before that Blue Ridge cutoff. Traffic is stacking up in both directions there on east and westbound 70 over that 435 exchange. Looking at debris in the roadway of the Triangle, southbound 71 just past Bannister, that is in the center lane. And that vehicle fire still closing the left lane of southbound 35 just past Mission Road. From the Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric Traffic Center, I'm Lori Pearson, 96.5 The Fan Traffic.
Chiefs fans, it's Rashee Rice. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
We got Sean Barber here getting you ready for the divisional round of the postseason. We have been breaking down Chiefs and Texans. Barbershop is doing some kind of dance that is not the dance for the song that's playing right now, but you know, I'm going to let that slide.
What song was that?
That was Swag Surf. I don't know what you were doing. You were not swagging or surfing.
You know what? You're being real judgmental.
It's
right
okay.
there.
You know what?
I thought the whole thing about swag surf is that it's a personal. It's like whatever you feel. Like
no, there's a whole dance.
For real?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, like you can't do whatever dance you want during the Macarena. They tell you there's a dance. You can't do whatever you want during Cupid Shuffle, the Cha-Cha Slide.
Swag Surf has its. You can't do another dance for Teach Me How to Dougie. You got a Dougie.
For real? I mean, I know about those old things, but Swag Surf, I thought it was like, man, like you feel it. Like that's the whole thing. Like the energy in that song. Come on, man. Like, come on.
My bad.
When I saw the Chiefs on the sideline swagging and surfing, they weren't all doing the same thing. It was just.
I'm guessing it was two Americas over there. That's what I'm guessing. I'm guessing that.
Come on.
I'm guessing
No,
James
no,
Winchester.
No. Taylor Swift swag surfed. It crossed over.
Two Americas. See what I mean? She wasn't doing it correctly. She wasn't doing the right dance.
Come on,
That's
man.
the point I'm trying to make to you.
Golly.
That song's not nearly as good as this one.
Those haters can't stand us. Left hand up. Who are we? The Commanders.
Do your Commanders have any chance this weekend?
First of all, I never played for the Commanders.
You played for Washington. Does Washington have a chance?
The Washington team that I played for was called the Redskins. Be it politically incorrect or not, I played for the Redskins. So they're not playing this weekend. The Commanders are representing.
Yeah, shout out to the Commanders and the football team.
The football
I actually
team.
wish they had kept the football team. I did like the football team.
I mean, people. Why are people always forcing somebody to do something they don't want to do? Right? You want to force them to change the logo, force them to change the name.
I think it was time. It was time. It was definitely time to change it from the old name.
Now if you listen to it, they're trying to go back. They're trying to
I don't know if they're going back. I think some people might want them to go back. I don't think you're going back to that name anymore. I think it's done. I think it's over.
Well, when it ends up going back, we're gonna note this, put a pin in it, and we'll come back and revisit it. I actually think I talked to Billy Butler. Like, all right, so let me.
Here you go, dropping plenty. You got to pick that name up you just dropped.
The Royals designated hitter, Billy Butler?
Yeah, you picked that name up you just dropped.
What are you and Billy Butler talking about?
So we're in the fantasy football league, and so after the season, I ended up coming in second place.
You lost to Billy?
No, Billy came in not second place. He's a big Commanders fan, so he had Jalen Daniels, Ertz, he had Bo Robinson.
Okay, he had a decent season then. He should have.
I mean, he should have, but like you got to have other players.
Well, that's
all right. And so when you overdraft the Commanders team to make sure you get all the Commanders, then the rest of your team ends up being a bunch of backups. So yes, like he could have got that same team and had some studs in the first 4 rounds and still got those Commander players. But it's Billy Butler, and he's Commander. He has pride. I didn't want to mention it, Commanders, but I know at a point. You used to be Charger Dot. I think after the last Charger game, you've given up on. I think that you realize Herbert is not Herbert.
Why do you have to take this moment to disrespect me and call me a name that I've told you I don't want to be called?
We buried that name. I
don't ever want to be called that name
over
again.
cigars. I think we looked at each other and said, "There's no more Charger Dart. Like it can't be. That was despicable what we saw them do in that game."
I don't even want to talk about him on this show anymore.
All right. So now we got the Commanders. Now you can fully just put all your support, all your energy behind the Commanders. I do think they have a chance. And the only reason I think they have a chance, even though the Lions have been, the best team in the NFC this year, their defense is almost as beat up as the Texans' offense is. I mean, they're missing a lot of guys. Aaron Glenn has been doing a phenomenal job of next man up and finding ways to generate pressure. But he's facing a guy on the other side, Cliff Kingsbury, that might be a master at taking advantage of whatever your weakness is. Multiple times you're going to see the Commanders after a play line up at the ball. They're not in a rush. It's not a hurry-up offense. They just don't want you to substitute. They want to keep those guys on the field because they understand defensively, you usually have certain personnels that do certain things a lot better. And so when they got you in the personnel where they can take advantage of you in the passing game, they're not going to let you sub. If he is at this point one of the only teams that have like really taken advantage of that, and he's developed a playbook and his play system that they're allowed to get into 2 or 3 different plays from the line of scrimmage based off what he sees the defense lining up at, and they're not putting all of that on Jalen Daniels. It's not a hey quarterback at the line. I want you to be able to decipher X, Y, and Z. I mean, it's almost like a college offense where everybody's looking over to the side to figure out. I mean, are we in A series, B series, C series? Are we going with the numbers? Or are we going with the colors? So they can go into almost 5 or 6 different plays based off of what he's seeing as a coordinator from the line of scrimmage to being a successful play. How smart is that I mean, he kind of took me out, but how smart is that as a quarterback?
You know what that is? Rust. You haven't done it in a while. See what I mean? Your timing was a little bit off there. You heard the music at the end. You didn't know what to do. You got the Bills or the Ravens?
Ravens, run game. You can't stop Henry out the left, Lamar coming out the right, passing game to Andrews and Likely. Nah, you can't. That's 4 weapons. I don't know how the defense stops that. You got to outscore them. 43-40.
You don't think there's a lot of defense being played this weekend in the NFL playoffs, do you?
Mark my word. Take that over.
Barbershop, man, I appreciate you, man. Thanks
No
a lot
doubt,
for
man.
coming in today, man.
Well, I got extended hours.
I know you got to work these playoffs. You got to put in a little extra time. You like DJ Humphries. That's what you like.
We're going to players only, straight from here, Brady. Come on, man.
Keep it right here. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan. We got a busy show tomorrow.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a